All right, cool. There's both of us, and we're live.
Awesome. Welcome. RGNJ podcast, regular G.I. Joe podcast is coming to you live. This is our first episode coming to you live. Most of the other times it's from recordings. So this was sort of an experiment for us to check us out. But before I start, this is what I'm bringing to the table. Right here. If you don't know, now you know. It's been a long 3 weeks. As you know, I'm in my master's program, and this has been a fucking headache and a half. Kids, don't go to school. Stay out of school. No, stay in school. Stay in school. But I'll be pouring myself a nice little glass of screwballs of peanut butter whiskey. Let me make sure I got all the ingredients for that. Of course, you need some ice. Didn't want to keep going up and down the stairs because there's probably gonna be like 7 of these that I'm gonna be drinking out of. So of course you get your ice in there, maybe like 3 cubes. Nice little set right there. And then we're gonna get a pour. So what's up, Mike? What's going on?
Nothing, man. Just
Tell me about these cats.
Nah, we don't
How
that shit's
many
on
cats
record
do you
live.
have in the house?
Nah, we're not talking about that, man. That's a lot of cats. And then there could be somebody from the city, so I don't ever say shit. That one goes off official record.
There's nothing compared. One of my really close friends, brother, and everything else from another mother. He his grandfather loved cats, man. We consider him to be like the cat whisperer. He used to be outside and everything, and just cats would just come all over the place. He used to do these little noises. He used to be like, like little cat whispering, and the cats would just come and flock to him, man. And he would give them like little pieces of ham, cheese, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So as a little kid, we used to go make runs for him to the store. So we used to pick up a pack of Pall Mall cigarettes. I believe it was Budweiser, and then like a half a pound of ham, half a pound of cheese, and we'll bring it to him. He'll give us like $1 or something as our reward, and then he would go and feed these cats or whatnot. So we consider him to be the cat whisperer. So my good friend, his nickname we called him the Cat Father, because he grew up with all the felines in the household or whatnot. So we started calling him the Cat Father. But in Spanish, we call him Gato.
Mm.
So his nickname to us growing up has always been Gato. Even unto this day, we still call him Gato or whatnot.
Yeah,
But
we brought our cats from Japan, so
okay, how
yeah,
many?
it's a lot, man. Just
What's a lot though? Like more
uh,
than 5?
yeah, more than 5.
Holy! Well, thank God you're not alone. Thank God you're not a single guy with more than 5 cats, because then
Yeah,
we would
man.
have a problem.
Yeah, man. And we brought them from Japan, so we actually had to pay to bring them from Japan. It was man, this is how crazy it was. So this is during the pandemic, right?
Hmm.
It was legit cheaper to bring cats, or we bought a ticket for someone else to bring cats with them
Right.
than it was to bring cats individually.
Okay.
Because yeah, so it was actually cheaper to buy someone a plane ticket from Japan to Texas. It was legit cheaper. So
That's
yeah.
crazy. So did you need to do like any declaration forms, things like that? Like
No,
to
it's just the regular stuff you got through. Like my wife had to go through customs and kind of get them their paperwork and stuff like that. Make sure they have their
Yeah.
shots and those type of things. But that was pretty much about it.
Okay. Um, I do want to give a shout out again, man, to Nori, our good friend David Noriega. We appreciate you coming on the podcast. I know we mentioned that during our episodes. Hope the audience trilogy that we put out there, 3 parts, just to show his story and share some of our memories with him and whatnot. I actually tried to hit him up earlier today, see if he wanted to get on this live podcast session with us, so that we could do a little closure with him and him have him come and drink with us. But since he's not here, I said we do a little toast for him. Don't know if you got your drink in hand. No,
I do.
nada.
I am drinking something.
Let me see what you're drinking.
See, you're right here.
Okay, salute to Nori for being a good host and coming on board to do the podcast with us.
I'm
But
still like barely at all ever like legit responding to our group text.
he's in. for that, man. And if it doesn't come back to like way later to after the fact, that you don't need to hear the answer no more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But I do want to say it's kind of sad what's going on in the world today with Ukraine, man. That's some scary stuff that's happening right now with the whole war between Russia and them. I,
Mm-hmm.
I know on behalf of me and Mike, we want to wish our brothers and sisters, active duty, guard, reserve, doesn't matter what branch you're affiliated with, that are going out there, be safe, return home safe, and hopefully our leaderships can work something out. I don't see these sanctions working as much. I mean, he's already been basically destroying most of Ukraine already, but hopefully we get a resolution from that and we're able to bring our troops back home and whatnot. But I'm ready. I'm ready to dust off my uniform, put it back on, and let's go. I'm ready to go back into the grind. Because believe it or not, I mean, when I first got to Germany back in '98, that's when the whole Kosovo genocide was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And 18 years old as an E1, that was pretty nerve wracking because as soon as we got there, they were already attaching the F-117s to our unit, and we were launching those bad boys to do whatever they needed to do. And it was just like shocking because I was like, what the heck is going on? And we had to do sit reps, we had to do coordinations of tracking them and everything else. But to know that it was actually for that purpose of going out there and doing what they needed to do was kind of intense, and it was an eye opener, man, because it was like you see the military in the movies and everything else and TV shows, but to actually know that you were actually involved in part of operation or anything like that was pretty intense. But so hopefully, yeah, hopefully you guys come back safe and sound, man. Return home safe. Do what you got to do. Hopefully, it doesn't lead to that, but it's a crazy time out there in the world today, man. And it's kind of scary now as parents, or even like for myself with my nephew, their kids going into the service now and everything else. It's having that already be part of their first sort of deployment or combat operation. Everything is pretty scary, man. So we wish them all the best.
Yeah, man. That's what I mean. That's like I had a VA, right? So I was there talking to my therapist, and it's just like you kind of just know already, like man, these whoever, even if none of our military goes there now, like someone's about to they're gonna go through some things like lives will be lost and stuff like that, and it's kind of like sucks. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
It is, man, and it's sad because I'm sure the intel was there way before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping that they took advantage of that intel to create some sort of response plans or some strategies to how they were to counter it if it actually came to reality. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping, with what's going on now, I'm hoping that it's not coming as a surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm hoping they be like, okay, this happened, then we already know what to respond with for that scenario, so on and so forth.
Right.
Shouldn't be catching us off guard to be like, yo, what is he doing? What's going on? Like, we should already been knowing this was going to be coming to fruition.
Yeah. I think they did too. I think they already like came out. I was reading an article saying that that was kind of a new thing they did. They kind of were talking about it ahead of time. So I think, man. But you know how it goes, man. I think it's like one of those ones where shit sucks, man. Like
It
just
does, man.
it is what it is,
It's
man.
sad
But
because even all through all the other wars with September 11th, we did the whole OIF, OEF, even with the Kosovo back in '98 and everything else. It's always the scary fact of if you're gonna make it or not. You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna see
mhm,
tomorrow? Is tomorrow gonna be there for me and whatnot? Fortunately for me, I never was really in the grind. My boots on the ground was in locations where most of my support was coming from me launching the planes. You know what I'm saying? So me being around the firefighting or anything like that, thank God I was blessed to never have been in the trenches like that. You know what I'm saying? But I
mhm,
know people who have. Like your case were in Iraq. I know friends who were in Afghanistan, Kandahar, Islamabad. Bombs going off left and right, motor attacks all the time. So I could just imagine what parents, families, friends, and everything are like, yo, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like worrying all the time, 24 hours a day, just hoping that nothing happens to them. So it is frightening because I don't know how many times my mother would try to reach out to be like, are you okay? Is everything all right? And but these are the things that we sign up for. You know what I'm saying? We knew what we were getting into when we took the oath or whatnot. And that's always what I try to explain to my family was like, I know what I'm doing. They provide the training for it and everything else. Plus, I'm with people with experience, that been here, been there, and done that. So we know they're looking out. We're all looking out for each other or whatnot. But again, if you don't know, it can be a scary situation. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the most that we can do now is instead of like pointing fingers on whose fault is it, what can we do better and everything else, this should be used more of a time of just making sure that the people that we send out there that they come back safe and
Hmm.
sound and that we find a quick ending to this war and hopefully Putin comes to his senses and retreats and pulls out and leaves Ukraine alone and we go back to dealing with COVID and everything else. So
Ah, man, I don't know. Those kind of things where like I don't know. I think at some point there's supposed to be like, well, we can't quarantine for 3, 4, or 5 days, man. It's just if war's going on, man, war always supersedes everything. So
true.
and I think you're kind of you see yourself like like at times. I mean, there's different people who've seen it in different. I mean, not everywhere is like in America, and even some parts of America sucks. But like you see people really don't care about peace, man. They want it. I mean, this dude's been trying for a very long time, and he got it, and he went after it, and unfortunate that those things are going on. And what's crazier is like, man, like, hey, man, people are legit like getting hurt right now. Like they're dying. Their
Mhm.
lives will never be the same. And some people, because it's not here or wherever they're at, they take advantage of it and they try to get like almost points or some kind of thing off of the news media. But at the same time frame, like not everywhere in the world is it shitty. There's people that are trying to help and people that want to help those people out. So it's just a reminder that like this world isn't, I mean, it's not always bad and it's not always great, but there's always people on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, definitely, man. And like I said, it's not a time for bashing. It shouldn't be a time for who said it first and who's been saying it, who's not doing it, and stuff like that. I think it's a time for for rejoicing to come together and making sure that we send out prayers to those families, friends, especially if you know somebody that's going out there, whatnot. Because I know you and I still have a lot of friends that are still active, that are still serving. That there's a good chance that they're gonna be going out there once the ops off for them to be going out there. So it's more of a time of just prayers and whatnot, and making sure that they come back to their families and everything else. But it
But
is,
I do think there are some people that are standing by right now, excited, like foaming at the
mm,
fucking mouth, like I'm ready.
they are they're
Please.
dying for some action, man. They're dying to go out there and do what they need to do. Like I said, I'm my uniform's hanging on my door. I'm ready for them to recall me and let me know that I'm coming back.
Well, it's like I remember a couple times, man. Like I forgot what years it was, but we used to deploy to Iraq so often that like I remember we'd be back stationed, and you hear this guy going, be like, dude, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. Like I gotta deploy again, man. And my wife's getting on my nerves. We need some time apart. Like it's almost like they use deployments as a way to like keep their marriage strong because it's like a he was just like I gotta get out of here and go somewhere else, and two, like I gotta miss her again. I'm not missing her anymore. I mean, but the crazy part is that people got that like marriages got used to someone being gone, the
Yeah,
husband or the wife or whoever or both, whatever depends. But they got used to like every so often somebody's gone for 6 months at a time.
right.
We don't talk that often. We send emails and texts and we fall back in love. But hey, man, you need to deploy again. I'm tired of your shit.
So it's funny that you say that because it's normal for us, right? For our lifestyle, whenever that happened, because they're like I think we mentioned it before. Like if you went to the NTO club, you would see wives or husbands there by themselves, and you knew that their significant other was gone. You know what I'm saying? Was deployed or something else. So I remember this one time I was deployed to Saudi Arabia. It was when 9/11 kicked off, and the way Saudi Arabia was set up was you had your barracks and your workplace in excuse me, in two different locations, right? So it was like a good 30-minute drive. So I used to work with the air mobility side. We used to track the planes and all that stuff. So we had a passenger terminal. So whenever we had inbounds or anything like that, they would go bring out a van to pick up, the passengers, so that way they could bring them in for in processing and things like that. Check them in, have them sign up, do what they need to do to get assigned to that base or that unit.
Hmm.
So whenever we used to get off shift in the morning, we used to do a rotation of the van. So the van will hold the night shift crew, and then it would get swapped to the day shift crew, so that we had a means to come back and forth. So I was the night shift supervisor. So whenever you were in these deployed locations, majority of the time you worked with the same faces pretty much the whole time you're there. You know what I'm saying? Towards the end, when they would get replaced out, they would get swapped out with somebody else. Mike, let me tell you, when we get on that van to drive home or to drive to work, I used to sit in the back, and it used to be filled with just majority dudes, reservists, active duty, guard, all Air Force, didn't matter, from all over the United States. And I used to sit there, and all I used to hear was my fucking wife spending my per diem, my fucking girlfriend spending my per diem, my fucking wife spending my per diem, my girlfriend spending my dude. Every single time I rode in that fucking van was the same fucking arguments, right? The same complaints, the same grievances. So luckily for me, my roommate was my superintendent. He was day shift supervisor and I was night. So all the superintendents there got assigned a stick shift car, right? They had their own little vehicle. So he was able to go back and forth as he pleased. Izzy, on the other hand, had to suffer every day for 30 minutes sitting with these guys for them to complain about their wives and their girlfriends fucking spending their per diem. And on stupid shit, Amazon, they're buying you clothes, purses, and everything. Like, they didn't even care that the husbands or boyfriends were gone. They were like, who gives a shit? I'm going to splurge. So I told my boy, man, I told my superintendent, I was like, man, I was like, is there any way that we could do the changeover in the room and you let me take your car? I was like, because I'm done riding with them. Like, it was supposed to be like a team camaraderie stuff too. You're riding together because you work together. I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I need to be on my own. Like, I cannot be with them. And my boss was like, but why? And I was like, dude, you don't understand. Every day that I'm riding with them, I'm hearing about how fucking chicks are spending their fucking per diem every single night or every single morning that I'm coming home going to work. They're talking about the same shit. It was like Groundhog Day. They couldn't talk about sports. They couldn't talk about nothing else because we didn't really have knowledge of what the hell was fucking going back at home. But one thing for sure they knew was that their wives and the girl were spending the dough because they will see their bank transactions, so they didn't get the right amount of pay. So my boss said, okay. And Mike, this was the first time I learned how to drive stick shift. It was in Saudi Arabia. And I made sure that I learned because I was like, I'm not riding with them no more. Like, I was done with it. So here I am, my boss showed me how to do the clutch, how to do this, how to do that from 1 to 2 and changing the gears. So dude, I learned. I learned how to fucking drive that car like a fucking pro. So when I went to work, the van left, and they were like, "Yo, where's Izzy? How come Izzy didn't come?" So I'm already in my office. So they come in and they're like, "Yo, Devaya, what's going on? Like, where were you? Why are you in the van?" And I said, "Guys, I said I can't, man. I said I'm using the superintendent's car. I can't ride with you guys anymore." And they were like, why? And I was like, because you guys fucking bitch and complain about the same shit every fucking night, every fucking day about how your girlfriends and wives are fucking spending your per diem. If that's so much a fucking issue, then I suggest you start divorcing and I suggest you start breaking up with these chicks. But dude, I was like, I can't do it no more. I couldn't. For the love of me, I couldn't write. I loved each and every one of them. They were mad cool to work with and everything else, but their personal lives was fucking shitty as fuck because that's all they did was fucking complain. It was crazy.
Yeah, man, it's did I ever tell you how I got dumped in Iraq?
Mm-mm.
All right, so yeah, I got dumped in Iraq, man, and that's like so it was my first, yeah, it was my first tour, and it was one of those ones where it was like you know, high school sweethearts type shit like that, right? Like, okay,
Right.
we're in high school, and you know, I know some people who've stayed together since high school and they've been together every time, right? Like, no big deal, no big problem.
Right.
Nothing issue on that. Like, there's some people that can do it and they're very, you know, they have, I know people that are still married together. They went through high school, college, or, you know, whatever. This was not one of those stories or one of those type of relationships at all. So
Right.
it didn't happen at all. But yeah, I was in Iraq and it was my first tour and we got extended out for like 2 more weeks. Right. And so before that, like, hey, let's go ahead. We're going to get married, planning the wedding, doing all this crazy shit. And then it's like, I'm like, hey, by the way, I got extended for 2 more weeks. Right. So this whole time I'm in Iraq talking to her, da 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 da. And we're in Balad, so we're getting mortared, all this other, you know, all the crazy shit's going on. So we get mortared, and then I'm like, hey, by the way, I got extended for 2 weeks. Or at that point, I didn't even know. I was like, hey, I got extended. How long? Don't know. Like, I have
Yeah.
no clue what happened. I just got told I'm here until our replacements come in and we do a changeover. And that's when she was like, I can't do this. I can't handle your lifestyle no more. And it was like, what? What the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's like what it was. It was like, what? What do you mean you can't handle this? Like, I just can't handle this no more. I'm like, what? What the fuck? Like, what? And so like, you know, I get back home. I tried talking and doing those things, and just it was one of the ones where it was like the best thing that ever happened to me was also the
Mm.
worst thing. But also, I mean, that's all. Like every now, like even now, like, it's my advice to younger dudes is like, hey, you want to marry that girl? Cool. By the way, try going TDY. Try deploying if you can, because if she can handle it, great. If she can't, hey man, there's a lot of women that, well, spouses, a lot of men or women that cannot handle being apart because it's part of your job and not be mad at you, not take it out on you, not do this
Right.
stuff. So the harder, like, cause I have, we've heard those stories. I've known those guys where it's like, you know, not only
Hmm.
spending my PDM, but it's like, hey man, I'm coming home to an empty house. She took everything, the house, the kids, all that stuff
Right.
like that, and all my money. So, you know, those stories are real. They happen for a reason. It sucks, but I mean, shit, that's a
That was,
reality
but
of life.
that was part of the culture though. And that's
Yeah.
yo, honestly, that's one of the main reasons too that I didn't want to be involved. Like I didn't want to have a relationship with anybody because how many
Right.
times that you went to the desert or were deployed, what were the girls called? Especially the nasty ones or the ones who were like out of shape, whatever. They were called the desert queens, right? Because after a
Yeah.
while, your fucking vision went away and you just started seeing everybody like the movie Shallow Hal, where everybody just looked good. You didn't care who it was. So a lot of these husbands and even wives being gone for 6 months or even partly longer, depending what was going on, affairs were happening left and right, man. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They were fucking just needing to do what they needed to do to get by. And then unfortunately, it was either going home and like, oh shit, we're getting divorced, or like in your case, she was like, yo, it's over with. But yet you're like, I'm not gonna tell her that I already finished fucking cheating on her with all these other fucking girls in this fucking deployment. But that shit was part of the norm for most of the military people, man. How many times you went to the enlisted club and there was married women out there dancing because their husbands were gone? How many
Yeah.
times the husbands were out dancing with the fellas because their wives were fucking deployed? You know what I'm saying? You see that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't surprise me that, when people are like fucking, oh, my girl, my wife, this and that. But I was just getting tired of the fact that that's all they knew how to talk about. Like I
Hmm.
would even try to change the conversation. Like, let's talk about fucking video games or movies or something like that. But it was the same fucking shit. But that was,
Yeah.
to me, that was part of the culture, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why I was like, fuck that. I can't be one of those guys that's like, what? You're leaving me? Because
Hmm.
why? Because you can't handle the fact that I have to go and fucking deploy. And then on top of that, you're in your deployment. So now that shit is sitting in your head where you got to
Hmm.
deal with the rest of the 6 months with your fucking girl telling you that it's over with and who knows what's going on back at home. And
Yep.
then you're trying to call, hey, can you go check my house? Can you do this and that? Let me let the first sergeant know, hey, this is what's going on. Because you ain't going back home. They
Hmm.
weren't gonna send your ass back just because your girlfriend or your lady was fucking telling you that it's over. They didn't give two shits.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to have no tie downs, man. And it was funny because a lot of these dudes on their phone conversations, you hear them yelling. Lucy, Lisa, whatever. What the fuck? The per diem, this and that. Don't be wasting it all because then I'm trying to save. What the fuck am I gonna have when I come back home and blah blah blah. Like I used to be like, thank God I don't have those fucking troubles to worry about.
Well, now you will be 80 years old and just be still sitting there remembering that shit and be like, by the way, it's okay. I think we're gonna find you a woman. I think this might be the year we find you a woman.
You're breaking up.
Yeah. The only problem with that one is like we have to find someone who has like some main issues. Like we have to have someone who's willing partake in like you know what I mean? Because it's like all right, you're in your 40s, you've never been married.
Early, early 40s.
We can
Let's
even say
correct
late
that.
30s to help you out. We can even say
Okay,
late 30s.
let's go.
The moment you say that, someone's like, "What the fuck's wrong with him? What is he missing? Like, what is wrong with this guy? This
I'm
it has to
smart.
be."
There's nothing wrong with me. I'm smart. I've observed over the hurdles and the people, all the fallen soldiers that kept falling down in front of me. I kept jumping over them because I knew I wasn't gonna be one of them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we gotta find you somebody. I think we gotta find somebody in the mid 30s. That way they don't really know life. Like they're getting a handle on life and know that okay, it's rough, but at the same time frame, they don't blame you for being single. Like they're like, oh, okay, maybe it just wasn't that time. They don't know that you're defective. You know what I mean? Like there's something really fucking wrong with you. They don't know that yet. And hopefully we can trap them by then, and then you're good. We don't have to worry about you no more. So.
Until I show them the picture of all my kids.
I remember like I think when we're in Honduras, right? Like I think you even said like you haven't even dated a girl. I mean you've been having fun. It's not like you're like like
That is
a
true.
virgin or anything like that. But you just didn't date women, even
Never
like date 'em.
dated. Never dated them. Never cared to date them. For me, it just wasn't. It was just wasn't in my line of sight. Because when I joined the military, like I even tried to do school at the beginning, that didn't work out. Because I always felt like I was missing out. My boys were going to fucking Amsterdam, France, doing this, doing that, and I was like, oh fuck school. I'm not doing school. So I fucking got into that party social scene that I just wanted to fucking just go out and have a good time every time. You know what I'm saying? And that shit followed me all the way through my career. Because if you think about it, honestly, all my big party based number, Oktoberfest, Pig Festival, Wine Festival, everything. Germany, Europe itself is a fucking party central. You know what I'm saying? From there, I went to Cali. What's Cali? Cali's another big fucking party state. I was right in between San Fran and Sacramento. San Francisco, one of the biggest party scene cities in the world. Party all the time there. And guess who turned 21 in California? This guy. So, of course, it's legit now. I don't need to worry about ID or anything like that. Party. Where I go from California, I go to Las Vegas, motherfucking Sin City. And what is Vegas? That is another party city capital of the world. So, of course, I'm just out there to have a good time, party all the time, do what I need to do. Where I go from Vegas, motherfucking Turkey. Turkey is another party country. We had the alley right outside the base where it had a bunch of a strip of bars, restaurants, and everything. All you had to make sure is that you were back before curfew. You know how many times me and my boys are running to the gate around 1:30 because I think curfew was 2, fucking twisted as fuck, not even sure if we're running straight or not, but it was all party time all the time over there. After there, where I go? Motherfucking Honduras. And what's Honduras? Another fucking party country. You had Tegucigalpa, La Ceiba, the carnival. Remember the carnival we did in La Ceiba? That we went down there and chilled? That was another party city. And then where we go? Roatan, another fucking party island. So Honduras itself was party. This is where I made the decision that I needed to slow down. I already hit, I think, 16 years. And where do I go to? Out of all my bases that I put in, my number 8 base, because remember, you're allowed to pick 8 fucking dream spots on your dream sheet. On my 8th location, I put motherfucking Oklahoma. Because I was like, I need to slow down. I'm going too fast. I just kept going too fast. That's all I knew was going too fast. I go to Oklahoma. What happens in Oklahoma? One of my really, really best friends is over there. His family, Oklahoma City. We get the Oklahoma Thunder basketball team. What does Oklahoma become? party fucking city. Going out to the bars, going out to fucking pretty much drink on the weekends, watching UFC fights and everything else. So where I go from Oklahoma, I said, you know what? My career's almost over. Let me try to go somewhere close to home. They sent me to motherfucking New Jersey. And what's right next to New Jersey? New York City and motherfucking Philadelphia, which are what? Both big party cities. So there was no stopping. And then where I go to end the career, I end the career, and where I move to? Motherfucking sunny Florida, where there's no stopping the party here either. So it's never gonna happen. The relationship, that theory, that bubble never came to play in my head because I was just too busy enjoying life and having fun. Too busy. There was no way. If I would have been in North Dakota, if I would have been in fucking South Dakota, if I would have been in like fucking Nebraska, Montana, or some Wyoming or some shit like that, where there was nothing really else to do, who knows? I probably would have been settled down or some shit by myself. Have a girlfriend to fucking keep me company through all the cold and the winters and shit like that. But everywhere else, I was fucking too busy partying. So why the fuck was I gonna settle down? If you settle down, it was ridiculous.
Well, you're that one guy, like, so, like, when we're talking about, like, all that partying and shit, you were that guy who in the middle of the dance floor while everyone was drunk trying to talk to a girl or whatever. You're that guy in the middle of the dance floor still going. So
Yes.
I don't know if it's you went to every party city. I think you're just that guy who's a party guy. Like, you're a fun guy. Everyone loves to hang around you.
But
But
let me tell you where that came from though, because in my early 20s, I was too busy fucking being on the hunt to trying to fucking see who I can pick up, who I can talk to, this and this and that. And when things didn't work out, guess what was going on? You were just going home solo and fucking pissed that things didn't pan out for you. Meanwhile, your other friends who were there to have a good time, were there to create a memory, were there to create fucking stories to tell the people. They were leaving saying, man, what a fucking great night tonight was. Meanwhile, in my head, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? How is it a great night if we're all going home without anybody? That's when I had to learn to fucking change my mindset to be like, I need to start going out to go out to have fun, enjoy the company that I'm with, create the memories, share stories. And if things happen, things happen. But if it doesn't, I'm okay because I had a good time with my people. That's where that came from.
yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, I don't share those same sentiments because I don't have fun out there. Like, or like, I mean, because I was in Okinawa, Japan, man. I think I
Yeah.
went to the beach like maybe like 5, 10 times, maybe out of 12 years living there. Like, I'm a homebody, man. Like, I don't like
And
going
I'll
places.
be honest with you, like I didn't even know that you changed this much because in Honduras you were not like that.
Yeah,
Honduras, you were not the fucking quiet kid in the corner. At
yeah.
work, you were very reserved. You spoke when you were like, okay, I'll put my 2 cents into this, but for the most part, you just observed and whatever happened out there happened out there. But when it came to off duty time, when it came to the nightlife, you were not the quiet, reserved kid. And I
Yeah.
have pictures to prove that shit.
No, I mean, I'm not even denying it. Like, we went fucking crazy. Like, I mean, that's why I said, like, I almost sit there and say, like, I had those 6 months were my college years. Like, we went fucking nuts. And I went nuts. But, like, it's like, even there were some times where I went a little too much and
Right.
it started going down the hill. And and it continued on for the rest of my life where I just would go a little too far and it would just start getting a little like the wheels would start coming off, and then they finally just came the fuck off. And then after that, I was like, okay, cool, man. Like, and then it just learned like I'm gonna chill. I prefer to chill, anyways. Like, even right now, I'm not even drinking. Like, I don't have a drink. Like,
Right.
this is I'm drinking mineral water. Like, we're
I
chilling.
know you were.
Lies. You're
I knew
excited.
you were because you
Lies.
mentioned to me earlier on in life that you're not about that no more.
Yeah.
You're I won't say full sobriety, but your sobriety is you're there where you know if I don't want it, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you don't want to do it, you don't need to do it. So that's why I was like, I knew you weren't gonna do it. But this for my homie Nori. I'm gonna pour one out for him into my mouth.
Pour it in your mouth. Yeah, yeah. Like, it's yeah. I don't know, man. It's I really don't care. Like, I think there have been times where I'll get around people and I'll drink,
Yeah.
and then if I drink too much, I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, the moment I start wanting like desire, like today, man. Like, for some reason I've just been really annoyed, and I was like, you know what, I want to drink. And then I was like to my wife, she knew about tonight. She's like, are you gonna drink? And I was like, nah. Like, at that point, like, if I want to drink, I can't drink. Like, I have to refuse. I have to be strong. we cannot give in, because you start giving in when you want to drink, and you, like, for me, at least for me, and I want to drink. Because I thought, I was like, oh, like, do we have any liquor in the house? And she kind of like laughs, like, no, of course we don't have no liquor. But it's like that's a reason why, man. It's not because I'm some fucking, disciplined dude. I'm a fucking goon, man. I'm an idiot.
I mean, but
And
that's the good thing is that you know yourself. A
yeah,
lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people the next day after the fact will be like, yo, I need to stop drinking because I was fucking an idiot or I did bad shit. But then what happens? Oh, the week was too stressful. Things were going on. I need a fucking drink. And then that drink leads from Friday into Saturday morning. And again, here you are doing stupid shit again. You know what I'm saying? That's good. I mean, that's a strong will and mindset to have, that you're able to say, nah, I don't want to have it right now, because I know how I would get if it starts continuing to where I can't just do one glass. It's going to lead to 10 glasses. And then I'm a fucking belligerent. I'm fucking doing stupid shit. I'm acting crazy and everything else. So I applaud you for that, man. Not many people can have the willpower to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll tell you this. I had a really good friend, and I believe he's still this way. He and I met when I was stationed in Cali and Travis, and he knew that myself and other people that I used to hang out with, that we loved the party scene. We used to love going to the clubs and everything else. This dude was such a fun person alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was sober. Like, he didn't do alcohol. He didn't care for that or anything else. But this dude just loved just being around people and just having a good time. So one, the benefit of having him there was that he was always the DD. So it was like, oh, cool, you're going? Sweet. So now we could pregame here. He's gonna pick us up at this time, and then we're gonna roll out, and then we got a ride to come back through the gate because he's the sober one, and he's gonna show the ID to get us in. But
hmm
in the club, this dude would literally dance, talking, mingling, socializing, everything. And his glass was always water. This dude wouldn't do anything else, maybe a Red Bull here and there, but always water. And then he would look at us and he would see me and everybody else where we're like, fucking going crazy. We're like, yo, let's do shots, let's do this, let's do that. And the whole time, never once did this dude fucking talk shit about us. Never once did he say, yo, I'm not hanging out with you guys no more. You guys get too crazy. This dude would just make sure that we got back to the dorm safely. And then he'd be like, hey, let me know if we're going out next weekend. I was like, man, that's commitment. You know what I'm saying? Like, applaud people that are in sobriety and everything else, because that's definitely something hard to live by, especially when you had a strong addiction to alcohol. But to be able to go and live every day knowing that you don't need that shit no more, I applaud them. But he was just natural. Like, he never, it wasn't like he was coming out of an addiction of alcoholism or anything like that. Like, he was just, that was his straight edge lifestyle. Like, he was just like, this is me all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, I don't know how you do it, because some of us did get crazy. Some of us were the type where you're like, yo, grab him. You know, some of us were just out there. And for him to still be like, hey, you know, that was fun. Let's still go out. I was like, man, good for you, bro. But I enjoyed his company because, like I say, he was good people, but he was also the DD, which was beneficial. Because if not, there would have been a lot of drinking and driving incidents out there.
Well, I'm also that kind of person. Like, if somebody's really drunk, oh, we gonna have fun. Like, I'm about it. Like, if you're like a single guy, and there's a big girl, I will talk you into trying to go home with her. Like, I have no problem setting you up for failure. I have no problem being like, I'm setting myself up for a laugh tomorrow. Like, I'm being that serious. Like, I've done it before. Like, I don't. If you're drunk, man, you're around me and you're drunk. Like, I will take advantage of that shit. And it's not like I'm gonna make you like lose money, but if you're a single guy and you're getting drunk and like you're a little too much, you're like, hey, that girl looks cute. I'm like, oh, she does. You should go for it, knowing damn well what's about to happen to him. Oh, we definitely set
Yeah.
him up for failure.
But there, you gotta remember though, there are guys who are not picky. There are men who
100%.
don't have a preference. So it
They
could
don't.
be heavy set, thick, thin, whatever the case may be. You might think, yo, I'm gonna set him up and he's gonna fucking get pranked, and homeboy's gonna be like, those are my top. You know
But
what I'm
that
saying?
that's why you know the people you're dealing with, because it's like if you're dealing with a person who's like, like, nasty like that, they don't care. There's nothing you can't do that to them. You have to do it another way. You
Yeah.
have to like make them like do something else that's like, oh, that's hilarious. but kind of like, oh fuck, I got drunk again like that. But if you have any little bit of standards, any little bit of them, oh yeah, you definitely getting set up for failure. We're getting you if there's a big
True.
girl, or if you're into big girls, I'm trying to get you the skinniest girl, or whatever
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not into.
Right.
But the moments there's that like, because there's always like every time you drink, there's like a little glaze where it's like a little delay, like and they're
Hmm.
like, yeah, like oh okay, all right, cool man, just keep giving you some drinks, um, let's go man. You start looking around, but like, all right, we got her. I'm gonna get you watch this one, man, and just set them up, man, and everyone's looking at you like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, I know, right? But
Yeah.
funny. It's like,
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna sound very horrible right now. Because one of my good friends back in Cali, man, he was one of those that would get the glaze over his eyes. And what he thought was a dime was a fucking penny, man. Like it was just like wow. I mean, to the point where the next day he would be like, why the fuck did you let that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, why'd you leave me alone? I'm like, dude, you know, you were drinking. You were the one who was telling me this and that. Like, you told me that you're okay, that you know what you're doing. So what you want me to do? I'm not babysitting you. You know what I'm saying? None of us babysit each other unless it was God forbid maybe get into a fight or something like that. But for the most part, if you hooked up, you hooked up. But man, Mike, when we saw her, who she really was the next day, Diablo. Man. I'm not trying to be like a chauvinistic pig over here or anything like that, but man, you know, some people are just fugly. You know what I'm saying? They just meant
yeah,
that way. But man, it was crazy because he looked at me like, "What did I do?" You know, and it wasn't one of those, you know, those stories where the guy got his arm over her and he, you know, or I had to chop my arm off to fucking make sure I got out of there, you know, shit like that. Like he was walking side by side with her to come to us because we were picking him up, and he's walking side by side, and we're all like, you know, we're clear headed, we're sober, and all of us were like, what? Like, yo, you ready to go? He's like, yes, I am ready to go. And of course, you know, am I gonna see you again? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nope, that shit ain't happening.
yeah.
Oh,
I did that to my boy, and so we're in Japan, and that happens. Like he picks up a girl, man, and she's not pretty. It's like one of the ones like at the nightclub, like the shadows kind of hide some things, and then in the morning they don't, right? And so like and then of course it's my fault because I didn't I didn't stop him, and I knew what I was doing. But also so that was bad. And then so the next day he was like, "You gotta take her home, man. Like you fucked me up. Like you did me wrong, man. You gotta take her home." I was like, "All right, that's the least I can do." This girl had me drop her off in the middle of a field. It was like, "I'm good here," and I was like, like so like I don't even know this girl at all. Like
yeah.
I've never met her. Um, so I've never met her, and so we're of course that means the whole ride is nothing, right? It's just awkward because I don't know her, she doesn't know
Silence.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just silence. And then she's like, "You could drop me off here," and it's like you looking around, and be like, "This is where people get murdered at, man. Like, are you like?" And then I swear, I was just like, "All right, man, have a good day," and just
See you later. Close the door,
never.
please. Close the
I
door.
literally have no idea if I've ever seen her again. You know, like there's some people you're like, "Oh shit, that's that girl." Let me duck from the store.
Yeah.
Never. I have no idea if I ever came in contact. 'Cause I have no idea who she was, any of that stuff. But I literally left a girl in a field because she was like, "Just drop me off here." Because there's like that's how it is in Japan in Okinawa. There's like where the farmers are at type of thing,
Hmm.
and there might be a house down the road or something like that. But there's a road, and then there's it's a field, and she was like, "Here, I'm good here." And I was like, "All right, man. Like it's not even like that guy. Is like, I cannot do that. I must walk you to your front door. I must like." And I was like, "Cool, man. Peace out. Have a good day, man. I'm out." Whoa.
See you later.
Yup, man. I was like, oof. And then
Yo,
as soon as I got back, it was
I'll be honest with you, like you said, the shadows in the club do play tricks on the motherfucking eyes. So I was in Hawaii visiting a friend. My friend knew, because he was a single dude, my friend knew every spot that did dollar drink nights. So Monday through Sunday, he knew what spot to go to that the drinks were $1 and they were premium. Hennessy, Jack Daniels, Cavassier, things like that for $1, bro. They did it from a certain time. I think when they opened from 10, maybe to $11 drinks, and then regular drink service or drink prices from after that. So I show up on a Tuesday with him, and I'm standing in line, and we're waiting to get in. This was in Hawaii. So he looks at me. He's like, "Yo, it's gonna be good. It's dollar drink night. This bar is really good. All the drinks." And I'm like, "Dollar drink night?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like Hennessy. He's like, "Yeah, everything. Captain Morgan, Hennessy, that dollar drink night." So I was like, "All right, cool." All of a sudden, I feel a presence behind me. It's two Samoan Hawaiian chicks. The girl behind me is talking. I don't understand what she's saying. And all of a sudden, her friend goes to her, "Yeah, man, I can't wait to get in this club." And I was like, "Wait a minute." That's a man voice. So I turned around, and lo and behold, it was a transvestite, a man dressed up as a woman. So I looked at my friend and I said, "What's happening?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's I forgot what he said. It was whatever night. I don't know if it was like tranny night or whatever the case may be." He goes, "But it's a dollar drink night." So I'm like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." So he's like, "Come on, let's not leave. It's a dollar drink night. We're already here. Let's just have a good time." Okay. Go in, took out $20, $20 worth of Hennessy, doing shots, Jack Daniels, this and this and that. We go to the dance floor. My friend looks at me and he goes, "I need you to do me a favor." And by this time, me and him, we're already intoxicated. Like, I don't know Adam from fucking Steve. Strobe lights. Okay. So my vision is like, what the fuck is going on? So because he told me that it was like transvestite, and I stood against the wall. Like I wasn't really dancing. I was just gonna enjoy my dollar drink nights. He looks at me and goes, "Yo, do me a favor. If you see me dancing with a girl, I need you to tell me if it's a girl or not." And I looked at my friend and I said, "Dude," I said, "it's fucking mad dark in here. Strobe lights are everywhere. How the fuck am I gonna be able to tell you if that's a woman or a man when I'm done? Like I'm already tipsy, I'm feeling nice and everything else." So he goes and is dancing with a girl. And as he's like doing his move and he turns, he looks at me and he goes, "Is it a girl or is it not a girl?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I said, "You need to go old school, okay? If you can't see the Adam apple because it's too dark, you're gonna have to put your motherfucking hand under the skirt and see if it's a man or it's a woman." It turned out it was a woman, but, but like, how you gonna ask me? How you gonna ask your drunk friend to identify whether that person is female or not? Dude, I was gone. You know what I'm saying? Then he's telling me that is where dudes were going in with girls who they thought were girls were actually men and getting blowjobs out of there. So dudes were coming out like kissing them, not realizing that it was a dude. I was like, I mean, it was a good time, dollar drink night. We had a lot of fun and everything else, but it was a non-dancing night for Izzy because Izzy was like, "I ain't dancing with nobody if I don't know them, especially they told me it's transvestite night. I'm not doing that." And I was supposed to be the wingman, but I was like, "Dude, I could barely see. I can't see nobody. I can't tell." Do the old check again. If you can't see this, stick your hand under the skirt and find out for yourself if it's a dude or not.
You've never been in Thailand then,
Mm.
because Thailand they'll shave it down. Even in Thailand, they'll even I've heard they even like kind of like make this kind of go away too, like the fingers, like surgery. I don't know. I've never been in Thailand, but we had this one guy who was going to Thailand like as a trip, right? So a whole bunch of guys are going, and they told him, they're like, "Hey man, if you ever get quiet with a girl and you hear the KY jelly jar open and scoops inside, that's a guy." Poor kid was just like, "What?" It's just like, and I told him like, "Hey, dude, if that happens, don't ever tell nobody, man. Just die. Like that's the secret you take to the grave, man. Just it is what it is, man. Like nobody
There's a
needs to
lot of
know."
tricks to the trade, man, to identify who's who. I'll share this story with you that happened to me when I was in Germany. So I got to Germany again. I'm gonna show my age here. Back in 1998, and I was working. You know, the command post is a two controller position all the time because we're 24 hours, 7 days a week. We never go to sleep. So I was working the night shift, which ran from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I'm the junior controller because I just got there. I'm an E2. I got certified, and now I'm okay to work by myself along with the senior controller who was like an E4, E5. So at the time it was an E4. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I hear him saying, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will, sir. I will call you back, sir." He hangs up the phone. As he hangs up the phone, he's laughing. He's cracking up. So I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" So he tells me that the vice wing commander, who's the deputy in charge of the base, called us to say for us to get in touch with OSI, who are the undercovers, the military, that apparently there was a rape incident on the base, in the barracks, in the dorms. So he talked to OSI, and OSI told him that there was a E2, I want to say E2 airman. He went out of base to party, in the clubs in Germany and everything else. So at that time, if you wanted to bring visitors in, all you had to do was sign a sheet to show that you were vouching for them, that they were your guests. So he went out to the club. He went to some club, bar, whatever it was, met this German national female chick, took in the car, brought her back to his dorm room, because his intention was like, yo, I'm going to smash, hit it, drop her off, and, send her on her way. So he goes back to the dorm room with her. They're partying in his dorm room and everything else, and they're drinking. Apparently, homeboy couldn't handle his liquor. He was drinking too much, doing too many shots, or whatever the case may be. He passes out. The next morning, at that time when we got the phone call, this airman woke up and called the cops. And for us, the security forces, armies, MPs, or whatever, he called the security forces crying. So security forces said, slow down, what's going on, what's happening? And the airman tells them that I've been raped. So the cops go, you've been raped? How can you tell that you've been raped? He goes, because my asshole hurts. So it turned out that the German national girl that he brought on to his dorm room was actually a dude dressed up as a woman. So when homeboy passed out drunk, the German national pounded that shit. Basically did what he had to do, left, called a taxi, walked to the gate, and left. And homeboy was passed out while he was getting pounded. Jeez. So he woke up that next morning calling the cops, crying, because he said his asshole was hurting him because the German national put his fucking Venus schnitzel in there and fucking pounded his ass. So here's the bad part. When you live in the dorms and you hear shit like that, everybody in the dorms knows. Because one person is going to tell one person, and one person tells the other, and so on and so on. And it's a chain effect of fucking telling the story. By the time I got to the dorms and word already got out, there were so many people that were standing outside. And when we saw homeboy, because he was getting separated, we saw homeboy, everybody already knew what happened to him. And he knew not to say hi to anybody. He knew not to say what's up because he already knew that people already knew the incident. You know what I'm saying? But that's where the shadows are deceitful because, again, like you said, Thailand, they shave the atoms off so you can tell. When I was in Diego Garcia, we called them yum-yums. They were from the Philippines. Their features, their physique looked just like women. So if they dressed up, you couldn't really tell, again, unless, do your checks or whatever. Same thing with the German nationals, and he thought drinking, dark lighting, he thought he was with a beautiful German girl. And this German girl set it off for him. And it was crazy. That was like one of my first crazy incidents that I had in Germany, man. I was like, damn, this is fun. Like, I couldn't believe it because I'm like, military, different world. You're not in the streets no more. You're away from that. And you're still fucking doing, these things are still happening, Like I had another dude who was selling ecstasy in his dorm room. I think I mentioned that this was the A1C that was driving a BMW, brand new, like a 98 BMW. I was like, what the fuck? A1C E3 walking around with a silver bracelet and a ring and all this other stuff. OSI again caught him because somebody ratted. He was selling fucking ecstasy out of his dorm. And ecstasy is big in Europe. That's one of the flavored drugs out there because of all the techno, the strobe lights, and everything else. And this dude got popped before that, man. It was crazy. I want to give a
There's
toast. I want to give a toast to because you said nasty, reminded me of Nasty Nate. So toast to Nasty Nate.
just drink all of it so you can get drunk and we start having more fun now. There was, I don't know if you read the news in Okinawa, man. Or three Marines got busted for getting marijuana mailed to them. So they got busted for that shit.
The fuck?
Yeah. So in Japan, man, in Japan, like marijuana is a big no no. Like they take that shit like hardcore serious.
Yeah.
So these three Marines, one on Camp Foster, the other one on Camp Kinzer. So there's like multiple camps, multiple Marine camps on in Okinawa, right? So all the branches are there. So one dude got 2 years. I think he just pleaded guilty. I think he's gonna get it or something like that. I saw something like that. But they're looking at 2 years of hard labor. The other ones, the other two Marines, they're looking at 3 years of hard labor.
Dude, and you know it's funny because my brother, he served time over there, or he did a duty station out there, and he would talk about that too, how the Marines will be fucking good at getting out of control, man. There a lot of rape incidents too from them,
Yeah.
like
Actually, I went to court
because they
once, man.
I could have sworn they did like a whole shutdown of the base and didn't let none of them come out because I guess they were on trial
Uh,
back in the 90s or whatever. Like it was just crazy out there, man.
yeah, so there was two Navy guys from Guam that were in Okinawa, right? And then a girl said they raped that she got raped by them too, right? Of course, there were stories like, no, it didn't happen. She was Chinese. She wanted it. She was a hooker. Whatever. I don't know what happened. That's what happened. So they went to jail. So that happened one weekend. I think the next weekend, a Marine lieutenant got drunk, was drunk, and was in after curfew, pretty much, and kind of after this incident. So he shouldn't have been out. He was chilling with his girl. She was married, I think, and her husband came home, and that shit happened. So he got in trouble for that type of shit,
Right.
or that was a story, something like that. And then afterwards, so this is 3 weekends. The 3 weeks later, my own troop got drunk because we had curfew. He got drunk, went to a bar, blacked out, and woke up in the hospital the next day.
Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, I think this was 2012 because I got out in 2013. So he got drunk. So there was a bar across the street. So he went clubbing and stuff, or he went out drinking to a bar, and then he went home. And he was like, I got like 10 minutes left. I'll go across the street. Let me have a beer real quick, and I'll go home. No big deal. And where he was at, there was nobody patrolling it, so nobody would have really known, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, and I guess he's drinking and those type of things, and um, depending on who you talk to, right? Like there's so many different scenarios, which is the Japanese system is fucked up, man. It makes you realize how blessed we are in America.
Right.
But so they were saying that they told him to leave because of curfew, which I doubt it, but that's what they said. He got belligerent and went and do it, and so he got mad, and I guess he got mad or something like that. Went outside, and so in Japan, they'll have an apartment complex, but the bottom floor will be a business, right? So it'd be like
Right.
2 3 floors of like living, and then the bottom floor is like a housing. So the bottom was a bar, and then somebody lived in the other floors. So he went up to the second floor, I think second or third floor, opened the door and walked in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because it was unlocked. So he goes there. He goes to where he thought his room was. He sees a kid sleeping, so he goes and just kind of tries to wake the kid up as the drunk would, right? So like kind of like tapping him. The kid wakes up. Everyone freaks out. My troop freaks out, jumps out the fucking window because he doesn't know any of this shit
What
apparently.
the fuck?
Jumps out, hits a rail, breaks a rib, and then falls on the floor.
What the fuck?
So international fucking incident, like international fuck, man, like international fucking incident, and so I think I was getting out too, so I was like kind of getting out, man. Like this was when it kind of got me jaded towards the military at that time because they threw me to the fucking wolves, man. They threw both of us to the wolves, like just to appease anybody, right? But anyways, so we had to, and of course it was my troop, so I had to go talk to OSI, I had to go talk to them. I had to go, so we had to do that. And so anytime they would request him, because it was a Japanese investigation, because it happened off base, I would have to take him. I would have to take him to a police because this was a really big deal. We had 3 incidents back to back, so this was all over the papers. This was really bad. So anytime we would go to the and they would call us up and be like, hey, we got to go. Like they want to like interrogate him, right? So in Japan's system, if you get interrogated, you can't have
Hmm.
nobody there with you. No, he couldn't even have a lawyer.
Wow.
And they just started asking him questions and interrogating the fuck out of him, right? And so the way they do it in like Japanese too is like if you don't confess, that makes you look even more guilty. So they even give you a harsher punishment because you're not confessing to it. Like it's just like we know you did this, so you say yes or no. And if you say no, that's not what I did, they get mad at you and give you a harsher punishment because you it's like a cop to
That's
it.
crazy.
So and because it was such a like high like news thing, we'd have to go to different police stations because we couldn't go to one of them. Like they couldn't know where we were going. And so just how big of a deal it was, right? International fucking incident. Like, you know, his name is up the chain, right? Like everyone knows who he is right now.
Right.
And so, and it's in the newspaper. You can find it. You research it. I think it's still there. The article. Poor guy though. So so that happened, and he went to trial. They wanted to throw him in prison because and the one thing they were trying to get him for was for smacking a kid. So because they said he punched the kid, right? But again, being a drunk, you're just gonna tap hard,
Hmm.
right? So that's kind of fucked up. More importantly, in normal, if that would have been anyone else, that would have been like a $700 fine, like max. But
Right.
because he was American and they do that to Americans out there, they were throwing him the harshest punishment, which was a year in prison with hard labor.
So
Yeah, man.
they take jurisdiction of the cases though. Like they don't give them
It
to the
happened off
military.
base.
Yeah.
The only difference is because when he would go get interrogated, I had to escort him because he was my troop.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
us maintaining custody of him. Because if we would let him go by, because the Marines, they'll let you go. So we actually saw that Marine lieutenant who got in trouble. I saw
Yeah.
him in jail because I was sitting there just chilling, and I was like, they have all the prisoners come by and shit, and he was there because the Marines just let him go, man. Like fuck, take him. We kept custody of him, and he had to move on base and shit like that, though. But man, I like to this day, I feel bad for that kid, man. Like he got like it was just they threw him to the wolves just to appease the local government,
Yeah.
and they fucking. I mean, there was a picture of like we're in my car leaving the courthouse because I had to go testify on his behalf. Like,
Wow.
and I'm getting out of the military, and so I got out, and then he was still going through it, but apparently he couldn't leave. He couldn't leave at all because he had like a collapsed lung. He like pierced his lung, so he couldn't fly for a long time. He had to pay the family so much amount of fucking money on top of that shit. So he had to like repair things. He had to like pay the bar owner. Like he had a shitload to pay. He just had to pay, and I think he got kicked out afterwards. Like I think he got less than honorable or other than honorable. But yeah,
So
man, poor kid.
what did the court convict them? Like did they
They
so he
didn't.
didn't
They
get
didn't. They didn't. No, he just got fines pretty much. But what I was upset about that no one really talked about was Homeboy just got back from Afghanistan. So I think he freaked out when he got drunk because that happens to people with PTSD,
right.
man. You drink and you
That's
freak the fuck out if you're not dealing with your shit mentally. And I think
right.
that's what it was. He freaked out. He didn't know where he was at, and he thought he was somebody else because what I mean, like, but because
That's
he went in
crazy.
because the house was unlocked, he went into it. They were saying he broke into it,
Yeah.
and so it's like it was one of those ones where the media just spun it really bad, and yeah, man. I heard later that like he got really negative, man. He just like didn't give a fuck no more. He was just like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Like, but he couldn't leave until he finished paying.
Yeah.
So I think he was just like that guy in the corner who was just like, "Dude, don't talk to that guy. That guy's like he hates life." But
That's
that is fucking
crazy.
down, sounding depressing right now. Sorry, that was like
Yeah.
completely, yeah. But yeah, homeboy got like, man, they tried to throw him in prison, and as a supervisor, I had to like legit testify on his behalf,
Yeah.
and my command threw me under the bus, was saying it was all my fault, and they fucking just. Yeah, man, they fucking threw me to the wolves. They threw everyone, anyone
That's
who was
how it
connected to
works.
him,
That's the shit
and
rolls downhill.
it does, man. So like there was a chief there he was a chief when that happened. He was the one throwing me under the bus, and then he retired. I saw him later. He was like giving me like, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?" Like it was like one of those ones where it's like it's not personal, man. It's just that's
Right.
business. Like
Yeah.
that was your troop, man. That's what happens. It's
Yep.
you.
I know when I was in Saudi, we had this one incident where again, Saudi where I was at was mostly male dominant. So it was not often that you got females that will come and be deployed there with us. So we had this girl. She was the IT there. She was the comm. So she basically, if you had any password unlock issues or things like that, she'll come and fix it. So what she used to do, and I'm not gonna say that this was on purpose, but the trailer that I worked in where we did operations was all guys, all men. So she would come in, and we at that time we used to wear those brown T-shirts, with the desert camos and everything else. Well, she was a pretty thick girl and everything else. So she would come in, dude, with this fucking shirt that was like cutting off circulation. Like it was so fucking tight. So you were able to see everything exposed from her body. So when she used to come to fix your computer, what she would do is instead of telling you, "Hey, can you move back or let me sit in your chair?" She would let you sit in your chair and she would bend over right in front of you. So you're seeing everything. Everything's like right in your face. So my boy, who was the E7 at the time, he was in charge of the airport, the PAX terminal, the passenger terminal, all that stuff. So she did that to him, and he moved back. He was like, "Yo, like, what the fuck is happening?" Because he's a married man. But she would throw that on there. She did that to basically everybody. I don't know what kind of attention she was trying to get or whatever her thing was. So she would do that. One day she came in because he had a problem. I was sitting in the office with him. She came in and she did that same routine. She bent over, that was in his face and everything. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" She pulls back. She goes to walk out. And as she's leaving, he stood up to come out to look to see what's going on. And she started saying, "What the fuck is your problem? Why you're looking at me? Why what do you have against me? This and this and that." So she claimed sexual harassment on him. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how the hell did it turn from you fixing his computer all of a sudden it's sexual harassment? So of course, everybody that was in the facility were his witnesses. So next thing I know, I fly back. I'm returning back home. I get to base. I check in, this and that. And before I could go on my R&R, like my leave or whatever, they tell me you need to go see OSI. So I go see OSI thinking like, "Yo, what the fuck happened?" And they're telling me,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, we heard about the incident that happened in Saudi Arabia." And I was like, "Holy shit." Like it made it all the way back here. And he was like, "Yes." He's like, "We need your testimony to let us know what happened with such and such male, such and such female, and what happened." I told him straight, I was like, he didn't do any of such kind. And I told him straight, like, she was the one that was flaunting herself. Like, she was doing things which were inappropriate and something should have been said, but nothing ever was because, again, it was like a prison. Not often do you see chicks up in there. You know what I'm saying? So when you see chicks, it's like, hey, we're seeing chicks. But I had to basically give them a breakdown of what the fuck happened, everything else, just because to, again, prove his innocence that he wasn't in that. From the time she was in his office, nothing was said until she walked outside and he stood up and just came out of his office just to see, because his guys worked there with us, just to see how everything was going. And all of a sudden, the fuck? Why are you looking at me? Why you look at me that way? And we were like, "Yo, there's something not right in the mind, man." Like she easily flipped the fucking script on him, man. And that was like, "Yo, what the?" And again, E7, you're already close to retirement and everything else. The last thing you need is to be fucking getting thrown back home from your deployment because of some shit like that. So I
Right.
was like, I'm glad that we all were there to witness and be there for his defense and everything else, because that shit could have got ugly for him, his wife, and everything else. Man, it would have been really bad.
Yeah, man. It's man, like people don't. Sometimes they don't understand, man. In the military, like if they remotely think you did something wrong, man, you're fucking like you're fried, dude. It don't matter how well your reputation is. They will throw you to the fucking wolves and ask questions later. And they do it all. It's like it's ingrained so much into leadership sometimes where it's like they can't help it. They're like, "Oh, you might have done something wrong. We'll just fuck you over real quick." You're like, "Whoa." And I think that's when it happens to certain people, you can tell because they start looking at it and they're saying like, man, like this longevity shit, I don't know if it's for me. And like, I was already getting out, so I really it pissed me off more. But it was just like, as you get older, you're like, oh, dude, y'all just found an scapegoat and just sat there and said, fuck it. Like, you were at E9, and you're just like, man, I'm about to retire in a couple years. I can't have that shit take me down. And so you just fucking blame the NCO, and that's, I mean, it's one of those ones where it's like, dude, you don't know what it's like until you've been there, but it's like that meme where you're like, first time, huh? Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
they will turn on you, and it's not personal. They don't mean any harm to you. Like in a sense, it's like it's just fucking. Sometimes, man, in the military, it's just like survival of the fittest, and a little bit of weakness, man. They turn on you in a heartbeat.
Once you get that target on you, it's hard to recover from that, because you can actually be the fucking airman, NCO, CGO, officer of the year, quarter, whatever the fuck, team of the month, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can have all these fucking accolades, but one little mistake, and you're a fucking rat, man. And
Yeah,
it's really hard to come back from that, man. It really is. You know what I'm saying? Like you really, one, you have to PCS. You have to get out of that unit because your reputation is already tarnished. So one, you have to PCS to another unit so you can start from a clean slate. But that doesn't mean that that unit that's gaining you ain't gonna call back like they always do to find out who am I getting, who
yeah,
is this person, what do I got to deal with here. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, you get to start on a clean slate and whatnot.
yeah.
Turkey had an E9 security forces.
What was his name?
I don't know. I don't remember his
I was
name.
about to say, just is there his name out, man? Like, what's
I
the?
would if I remember
Oh
it, but
no.
I don't remember it. So I was in Turkey, and every time I would go to the gym, he was there. He was a big dude, big like big bodybuilder type figure and everything else. E9 security forces, right? All of a sudden, I think it was like a week, maybe 2 weeks go by. I see him coming into the gym in his uniform, and he's an E7. So he got demoted 2 stripes. And I looked and I was like, wait a minute. I thought he was a fucking chief. Why is he a master sergeant? So of course, command post, we know everything. We get all the scoops on everything that's happening on base with everybody and anybody. Turns out that homeboy decided to mess around with an E6 that lived there in base housing. So if you live in base housing, it's because you are married. E9 was not the husband. So E9 was in her crib doing his thing. When he would leave at 6 a.m. or whatnot to go home to change to go to work, people started seeing that. And in the community in Turkey, the base housing is very, very small. That you could fucking throw a fart and people would know that Mike threw a fucking fart in base housing. So like a dum dum, this dude would leave mornings in front of everybody's view to leave out of somebody's house that they knew wasn't his house, but they knew it was the E6's house. And of course, 6 in the morning, guy coming out of the house, your husband's not there. What does that mean? You're fucking cheating, right?
No.
I get the call in the command post saying, from the husband saying, I need to be connected to the shirt. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm sorry, the shirt calling needing to be connected to the school. He was at NCO Academy in Ramstein. So we call the school. And of course, we listen in. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, but we listen in sometimes just to make sure it's not anything we need to run a checklist for. So as I'm listening in, I hear him telling him, hey, this is what happened. Your wife basically is a fucking hoe. She cheated on you. You can either stay or you can finish the school, finish the academy out, or you can come back and deal with this. Homeboy said, I'm close to graduating. I'm going to finish and I'll deal with it when I come back. However, it turned out that the guy who was in the NTO Academy, the husband who was in NTO Academy, that chief was his fucking superintendent. He was a cop with a chief. So
Oh,
he knew when the shirt mentioned that, yo, it was this E9 that was turning out your wife, that hurt him even more because that's supposed to be his leadership. You know what I'm saying? His supervision. And it was him that did that. So of course the chief PCS demoted, 2 stripes, left out as an E7. And he was close to retirement. Like he was up there already to his 30 years or some shit like that. Dude, it was crazy. I was like, this is, again, you think you're in the military, you think that shit like that you see on the streets or anything is not gonna happen. That shit still happens, man. The military doesn't mean that it's the whole new world. Like, shit that you see outside of it is not gonna happen inside of it. It still fucking comes about that way. It's
yeah.
nuts.
Shit, in Okinawa, man, I was a t-ball for one of it was he was a tech at the time, so I taught his son's t-ball, like or son his son's baseball team, like right. He was a tech and he became a master, and he got Airman of the Year. So this is like high, high. He's one of the 12 Airmen of the Year. It's achievement, right? Big
Hmm.
dude got master, went all the way up to chief. Like, I mean, I think the dude had like 12 deployments. He's like he was a legend type of thing because he just deployed so fucking much.
Right,
He
right,
became a chief. I think he became a command chief, and then he had an affair, and it got really ugly because I think it was one of his subordinates and that type of messy shit. He got
right.
court-martialed for that shit.
What?
Yeah, man. I mean, I forgot. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm pretty sure he retired. I remember because I went to his LinkedIn because I was like, because of course you got friends. You're like, hey, remember when we fucking like coached
Right.
that? Because we all knew each other and shit like that because it was the same squadron and stuff like that. And it was just like, yeah, man, he's getting court-martialed right now. You're like, holy fuck, because he was a big deal in the CE world. And he got court-martialed for that shit. I don't know all his details of what he did, man, but all I know is like one day he was like on his LinkedIn, he was like da 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 this this big profile, and then it was just like gone. And it's like, yeah, I don't
Wow,
know how
that's
you come
crazy,
back from
man.
you're this guy, and then you're
Yeah,
either again you're a master and you're retired right away quickly, and they just shove you out the door.
yeah.
But it's one of those ones too, man. Dude had 12. He had like I think over 12 deployments. He's airman of the year, which are it's a big
Right,
achievement. Not
right.
hardly anyone ever like you really know gets those things. And I think he got it as a tech, and so he got master. He went all the way up to chief, and he was a young dude, and he just gun ho for the Air Force, and you know. But when you hear some of that stuff, sometimes you almost wonder is like, was there other things at play, right? Like
Hmm.
does that person have some kind of mental issues and that's why they get risky, they don't give a fuck no more and da da da,
Right.
or you know I don't know, man. It's those things are really I think the roughest one, like to hear. I don't know what you do, man. Like do you just but whatever happened to him, he's gone. Like he's all those years, all those deployments, all that family shit out the fucking door, man. And they just the fucked up part too is like like you would think like damn, and then someone's else like, hey man, you want to be you want to be the superintendent? You want to be the chief? Or it was like, yeah, I'd love to. Come on in,
Yo,
man. Got
job
a new office.
openings,
Yeah,
job
and
positions just opened up.
and that's true, man. People do get like that where they're like, oh. Looks like you need it. Like I see a job opening because I mean, people may not know this, but when they have those positions, they have job openings for them, and people
Yeah,
apply for
they
them, and they got to
advertise them. Yes.
interview.
Yep.
Yeah, so somebody's downfall. You're sitting around like as soon as someone retires, they're like, "Hey
Yeah.
man, I'm ready to take over your office. I've still got another 5 years left in me. You're done. I'm ready for the shine. It's my time to take over."
That's why honestly, like it baffles me sometimes when I see people do stupid shit like that. Like you make it to the highest enlisted rank that you can make it to, and you're gonna turn around and fucking cheat, or you're gonna turn around and steal. You're gonna turn around or get into fights. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck are you thinking of when you're going through that? You know what I'm saying? Like, was that piece of ass really worth for you to lose two fucking stripes to demote you, knowing that how we fucking recognize an E9 as the, the 1%. You know what I'm saying? Like you're the high of the high, you're the person right now. You are it. To lose all of that just because you wanted to mess around with this chick because she looked pretty or whatever the case would be, or because you got too drunk and you got into a fight and everything else. Like, come on, man. Even on the deployments, man. Like I said, we used to call the girls out there desert queens because those were the ones that were easily available. You know what I'm saying? They garnered you the attention to have and everything else. And there were dudes, women that will be out there just fucking not understanding that this shit is gonna come back with you when you go back. Not
Yeah,
understanding that when you go home, don't be surprised if your significant other is looking at you and saying, I want to break up. Because word gets around, man. You never know who's watching you. You never know who's seeing you. And that's why it was like for me, I didn't give a fuck because I was just like, I'm single. I don't have a wife to worry about. I don't have a girlfriend to worry about. You know what I'm saying? I'm not breaking up a family or anything like that. So for me, I didn't really care. But for these people that were like bragging, like, yo, I did this and that, me and her did this and that, or whatever the case would be, is like, what are you doing? Like, this shit is gonna follow you back to your home station, and you're gonna be fucked when you get back home. You're gonna get paperwork, or something else is gonna happen, and they think, oh, because I'm in fucking Iraq or I'm in Afghanistan, nobody's gonna know. No, somebody eventually always knows, man. That shit is always gonna follow you back home.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, we love to talk, man. Like everyone knows everyone's business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd be like, "Hey, man, I know you were messing with this chick." You're like, "How'd you know about that shit?" Like, well, she told this dude. Johnny told me, and you know, da da da. You're like, Jesus, because I mean, it, I don't know, man. It's a crazy world to be, to belong to. Like, there's only a few of us that like have the military life. You know, that type
Yeah.
of those things. And you hear it, man. Like when I was deployed to Iraq, there was this dude. He had like his wife was a model, but she was like a plus size model. But she was still a fucking model. It wasn't like she was just like she was very pretty. Like kind of like dang man, like kind of like you lucky bastard type of thing. Because he would show us photos of his wife, like dude. And the
Yeah.
desert queen he got with was just a snaggle tooth ass chick, man. Just like bad. It was like Jesus, dude. Like it was that one girl where you're like you need to stay deployed for the rest of your career because that's the only fucking way you're gonna get attention. Like she was so used to getting zero attention that she was just like the nastiest girl she could be just to get
Right.
guys' attention. You know what I mean? Like that's she did it on purpose.
Right.
And this dude like and shit's real over there. I remember being over there and I was supposed to be getting married. Little did I know that was gonna come to an end in a couple months. Um, I would hang out with all the married guys, and I never understood why all the married guys would just sit there and say, "I'm just hanging out with like I got a group of guys. We're gonna sit there and chill,
Yeah.
and that's it." And but I understand now, like of course, like because you're gonna fuck up, you slip up, something's gonna happen. You're gonna whatever, anything could happen. A
Right.
fight could happen. Next thing you know, a girl walks over, gets your attention, and then there goes all this. And that's what she would do. She would look for those guys. She would target them, man. Whoever's having a rough time with their deployment or whatever, she would just come over and try to give them attention. And you know, us guys, man, we're some of the dumbest motherfuckers around, man. We're stupid as shit, man.
Yeah.
We fall for every little thing.
Yo, honestly, women can testify that men are idiots, man. We really are. And I know you see the memes, you see it, you even see it happen like in the movies and the videos. You know what I'm saying? Like the man fucks up and always gets caught. It always happens that way. So here, here I am in Turkey again, right? And I get word again, base housing. Everybody, if you want to know the scoop, go to base housing, and everybody will tell you what the fuck is going on with each neighbor there. So there was this major, a male, who was married to a Turkish national, right? They're living in base housing. This dude will always tell her around 6, 7 o'clock, "Hey, I gotta go into work." She's like, "Okay." I think he was like a jag officer, which is like a lawyer,
He said jack
paralegal.
off.
I call them jag offs, but that was him. He was one of them, right? So every time, I think it was like even on the weekends, he's like, "Hey, honey, I'm going into work. I gotta take care of some work. I gotta take care of some work." One day she said to herself, "You know what? I'm gonna follow my husband to see if he's really going into work, because this is too much. Like they're overworking him. You know what I'm saying? Like always going to work at 6 p.m. and then not coming back till like almost midnight. Shit like that. She was like, "What the fuck is going on?" She follows the husband. Apparently, the husband is leaves all off base every time he claims he's going to work. So she followed him. The husband parks down. She sees that he's walking down through some alley and everything else. The wife parks. She's walking down through the alley because that's what it was called. The alley was the main strip out there. She goes down and she follows the husband. And what she discovers is that the husband is getting banged by two Turkish guys.
Jesus.
That the husband turned that husband sexual, and he enjoyed being in the company of Turkish men. And she caught him. She caught the Turkish dude doing the act right there in the open with her husband in the alleyway. So of course she came back. She called us, command post, and she was like, "I need to talk to this major's supervisor, his boss, blah blah blah, this and this and that." So of course, you do the phone patches, and what happens when you do the phone patches? You listen in. But you do all that stuff, but I was like, what the again? Major, lawyer, you got a good career in front of you, really well. You're probably gonna make lieutenant colonel, and you're gonna go off and do shit like this. Again, Turkey's not, where we were stationed at is not a big place, man. You know what I'm saying? Base house is very small, and because the way it was built, you had the houses pretty much all connected to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You maybe had like a little space in between each house, but it was for the most part. If I came out of my house, like at least 20 houses could see Izzy coming out of his house. It was that small. Like everybody knew everybody's business. You know what I'm saying? And of course, she smartened up and she was like, "This ain't right. Like, how come this motherfucker is the only one that's going to work at 6, 7 o'clock at night all the time? Like,
Right.
you just finished working your shift and now you're going back to work because you got to do more work. Like, shit wasn't adding up." So when she followed him, she was like, "Holy shit!" She's just been straight up. Be like, "Honey, I want a divorce, whatever," versus letting that shit fucking catch up to you, and then she discovered you fucking who you really are.
Or
It's
don't do
crazy.
it every fucking day like a fucking
Mm-hmm.
idiot. That's why we're dumb, man.
Dumb.
We're so stupid. Like, oh, like she'll never notice the
We're
difference.
a
I'll just
dumb
tell her this one.
species, dude, for real. It's crazy. But you're
Yeah,
right.
man.
Every day to be doing that, like, split it up. You know
It's
what I'm
like,
saying?
dude,
Like,
you can't go with like you can't go like 1 or 2 weeks without getting like dick real fast. Just chill out. You got your own, man. Just fucking figure something out, man.
or at least be honest, like go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like go to your office, sit there, type up, go to Facebook, maybe email your friends. Who fucking knows? But
Somebody.
do legit. You know what I'm saying? To make your story be honest, because that one time that she would have followed you, maybe we would have been to your job, and then you could have been like, "Yo, what the fuck? Why are you following me?" Now you know what
Or
she's doing.
or if you're just doing it once a month, it's not so bad. But goddamn, dude, you make it seem like they're fucking
He was a
like
whore.
yeah. You
Apparently, he was a
probably
whore. Two Turkish guys? Like, yo, you're a major? You're getting pounded by two Turkish guys? Like,
can
what are
you
you buying all their leather jackets? You know what I'm saying? Like you're buying the rugs, the fucking the dressers and the TV entertainment stands? Like what's going on here?
do you know how
Oh
uncomfortable that
man.
must be for like whoever like your boss has to read
Mm.
the reports like bro two you just couldn't just like you just couldn't buy a dildo and be happy for a little bit, man. You just had to go like two at a time. Like,
Tell your
damn,
wife
dude.
to strap it on. You know what I'm saying? Tell her to put a
Something.
strap on and let
Yeah,
her go
make it
to
a little
town to you,
interest.
man.
Yeah. Like
Shit.
that's weird, but it's like, dude, that's not two Turkish guys weird, man. That's like, bro, you like when you're getting out, I know you're gonna do porn. That's what you're gonna do. Like that's there like you go so high up with the craziness, it's like
Yeah.
you can't just go regular shit anymore. You gotta do like you gotta do porn. That's it. You're that guy who just does porn because like, that's fucking wild. But dude, that's crazy because there's people like that shit, man. There's like,
Mhm.
I mean, more power to them. As long as whatever they do, as long as you're not hurting nobody, man, do whatever the fuck you want
Right.
to do.
Right.
But like you're saying, man, if you're gonna do that shit, man, at least have the balls to tell your wife, sit there and say, hey, look, man, like, can you just fucking just peg me? And then I think that can calm me down a little bit. She'd probably be like, you know what, to save this marriage, I'll try anything. But can you imagine how like how hurt her fucking like self confidence was?
Can you peg me? Can you peg? Honey, come upstairs. Little Jimmy's sleeping. I need you to
Yeah.
come peg me real quick. Oh, shit.
Something, man. But can
That's
you imagine
funny.
that conversation though? Like, or because you know she went on and date somebody else. Can you imagine
Yeah.
dating that woman and when you're like, she's telling you about her ex, you're like, shit, man, like that bar is really low for me, man. That's
Yeah.
two guys. Like
Uh,
Jesus, man. I gotta like that girl is damaged, man. There ain't
oh,
nothing you can do anymore. Like
beyond damage, dude. Beyond damage. But you,
issues, like that's therapy.
the crazy thing is that it was a lot of it was happening in Turkey. I don't know why. Like the craziest shit that I would hear about was happening in fucking Turkey. I had another incident, and it wasn't like that. I'm on the first floor. They always kept the dorms per your career field, right? So like
Mm.
command post be command post, finance be with finance, so on and so on. So the LRS, who were the logistics people, they had their own dorm. For some reason, I don't know how they managed this, but the first floor was composed of these dudes that were like from either, you know, the streets or whatever the case may be. Again, airmen, right? I wake up one day, I think it's like a Thursday, it's like 2 in the morning, and the music's blaring because they're, you know, they're also like shift workers, so they get days off on the weekdays sometimes and everything else. Dude, when I look through my window across the yard from me to see who's playing the music, I see at least 5 to 6 guys with no shirts on, jeans below the booty to where the underwears are showing, and they're all brown bagging the fucking 40-ounce Old English. Because remember, the shop has sold everything. The shop at the classics, you know, the place where you got your beer and alcohol consumption was there. I mean, they sold everything. These dudes are brown bagging like Old English and shit, playing the music loud, like Tupac, Biggie, like loud. All of a sudden, I hear this lady come out of her room. She was like a master sergeant, I think, and she yells, "Excuse me, can you please lower the music? Some of us have to work tomorrow." Tell me why this A1CE3 kid turned around and goes, "Bitch, shut the fuck up and go back in your room." I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, yo, are we military or are we in New York, Cali, Detroit? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, am I supposed to be wearing like white so I'm neutral from the Bloods and Crips? Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Yo, he literally looked at her, and of course, you knew they were all intoxicated because the music was blaring and everything else. So she said, "Got it." She turned around, went back in her room, and who did she call? Boo! Popo came through. They showed up, shut the party down, and guess what happened to those kids? In mad trouble because she went and found out who they were. She went to the LRS commander, whoever it was, told them what they said and everything else. Those kids got fucking paperwork and they ended up fucking not booted because that was like their PCS. They were short tour, but they were fucking in deep shit. And let me tell you, the rest of the time that I was there, not a fucking squeak from that corner of that building because all them cats got fucking laid into them by their commander. But
Yeah.
again, I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like, yo, like, where's your professionalism? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know her rank because there was some dorms that had officers in it because we were, you know, we were packed. We, you know, they had a compromise. But you don't know her rank. Like, you don't know who she is. For all you know, that could have been the commander of the base, and you just told her, "Shut up, bitch. Go the fuck back inside." Like,
It's the
you ain't in the
40s, man.
streets no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not in the hood. You're in the fucking Air Force. Like, act like it. And these fucking clowns thought that they were still fucking partying back at home in the front stoop and could talk to anybody the way they wanted to. And I was like, I just laughed because I was like, this is, you know, young, immature kids thinking that they could do whatever they want, but then fucking reality set in and you never heard of. But again, Turkey, I don't know. Turkey, I love Turkey. I had a good time in Turkey, but a lot of crazy shit happened there. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like the major fucking getting conked out by two Turkish guys to the fucking young knuckleheads thinking they're back in the fucking hood like it was the movie Friday. Like it was just fucking absurd, man.
I wonder if that JAG officer actually like did anything, prosecuted those kids or gave them paperwork or any of that stuff before they found out he was getting. It kind of takes away some of your power. Can you imagine? You're
Yeah.
like, he's like trying to talk to you, like, dude, like I just you got banged out by two dudes on a regular, man. Like you're a regular guy that gets banged out by two dudes. There's
You
nothing wrong
see
with it.
you see them kids trying to seduce him. Like, hey, you
Yeah.
wanna go in the alley with us?
Just
So
flips it
we
out
don't
and be
get
like, does this do
paperwork.
anything less for me right now? Like, does this help me my case? Because like, you've always had those conversations, and there's always that like, would you for $1 million would you do this, right? And there's always that one dude you're like, bro, you're going at a real price. Like they'll be like, well, for $1,000, I'd suck someone's dick. You're like, dude, that's actually achievable. Like you're kind of giving out real numbers. Like it's like, of
Yeah.
course, it'd be like, would you do this? Like, oh, for $100 million, I would do. We do. But there's always that one guy who'd be like, I'll do it for like $500. You give me $500, I'll do that. You're like, look around and be like, dude, that's the actual number. Like, it's like you've thought about this a little. Like, you don't understand the rules of this game. It's to like make a joke out of it, but also sound crazy. And your ass is over here like, I would. I mean, like, I'm kind of poor right now. I'm a, eat too. I would do that for about, $100. You're like, all right, man, we gotta get the fuck away from you.
Yeah, there's this that reminds me of the movie. It had Bob Saget. You know who Bob Saget is? The
Yeah, he
comedian
just
that
died.
passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a movie that Dave Chappelle did. It was called Half Baked. It was about these four friends living in a place where they did was smoke weed, get high, and everything. So the girlfriend that Dave Chappelle meets, she wants him to like go to NA, turn his life around, anything. So he goes up there. He's talking about his issue, and his issue is that he smokes weed. So fucking Bob Saget, he stands up and he goes, "Weed? That's it?" He goes, "I used to suck dick for coke." I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" You see Full House Bob Saget come out saying some shit like that. I was like, "What is going on, man?" But oh man, I don't know why your story reminded me of that.
Dude,
It's funny.
we're in Oki, right? So like, and I think I was still like E4. I wasn't like in charge yet, so I think I was like right at that cusp before things got really weird and like,
Mhm.
you kind of started becoming like your friends are only E5s or like that whatever bullshit. But anyways, so we're all in the dorms and we're all partying. So yeah, I think I was like E3 then, or about to be E4. Anyways, so we're
Yeah.
partying in the dorms, and so like we go to this one. We got a new girl that came in right to the office. So we're all sitting in one of our friends' room, and of course, for some reason, he just starts watching porn, right? So he's like trying to like with that girl. I guess we're trying to do something, and
Yeah.
so like this one dude is this one guy we had. He's a new guy there too, right? So we have all these new people in our office, and we're like there, we're drinking, and that this one guy's like. He's like, dude. He's like, that dude's dick. Like, so we're watching a porno, and the guy's like, that dude's dick isn't big. And we're like, what? Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, dude, I can't watch like a porno of the dude's dick being big and just railing the chick. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, like that part you say too much and everyone looks at you and be like, what the
Yeah.
what? Like, what are you
Wait, but
talking
why
about,
were you
dude?
guys watching a porno?
I think we're trying to get the girl in the mood or what. We're trying to figure out
Uh,
something. Like, it was that dumb thing, like, how cool are we or some stupid shit. Like,
right.
we're drinking and all that shit. I don't know. There's no
Oh
telling.
my god.
These were back in the dorm. Anything goes in the dorms.
These were back in the dorm days. That's what you're
Yeah,
gonna
so
blame it on. That was back in the dorm days.
dorm days, man. But that guy was like, he was like, yeah, like I like to see a dick that's like, big and veiny and like, railing this chick. And
What
we're
the
like, what the
fuck?
fuck are you talking about, man? What are you doing? Are you okay? You look like you're dusting right now. You just decided to
No, no,
start
no.
dusting.
I'm trying to charge my phone here. I gotta
So,
go through all
anyways,
these obstacles. Yeah.
so he's talking about that and he kills a fucking moose. So we're like, all right, cool. We're gonna go off base and we're gonna go party. And so like everyone goes in their own direction or whatever, and we see him, and it's like it's coming time for curfew because
Mhm.
we're overseas. So we're coming back on base, and we see
Right.
him, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Nah, man, I'm not gay. I just like to have big dick in my porn." And it's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man?" Like, it's like, "Hey, man, we don't like do you, man? If that's what you like, that's what you like, man. Ain't no one here to blame you, but we need you to stop talking about dick like
Oh
that, man. It's just
shit.
weird." And so every time we would see him for a while, he'd just be like, "Nah." And of course, like as anyone ever knows, man, the
Yeah.
moment you fuck up like that and you become a highlight like that night because of that, oh, we telling everybody and everybody in the
Oh
world, we're
yeah,
making
for
fun of you
sure.
nonstop.
Oh yeah.
And so he would scream, and sometimes he would just get like really mad and be like, "Nah, man, he never learned a trick. Just shut up, don't say shit. They make fun of you, just take it. Don't even say a word." And he'd be like, "Nah, it's just I'm very particular about how I like to watch porn." And like he would just go on a detail. You're like, "Dude, stop, man! Like you're hurting your
You're digging a
case."
hole, dude.
Yeah. But he was very particular about it. Like he was like that one where like, no, I don't. And the funny part was he never talked about the girl, so it was always like, hey man, if that's what you like, man, like
Right.
just cool, man. And then he would be like, no, I got a girlfriend. You're like, really? We really got a girlfriend? And then of course the girlfriend stories would come up, and you're just like,
Hmm.
I think you might be gay, dude. It's okay. No one cares. Just do you, but don't ever talk about the
Yeah.
veins and like go into detail. And it's like guy giving commentary. He's like, yeah, so this and that. Like, this one doesn't pull to the left. You're like, what the fuck? What?
He's giving a play by play.
Yeah.
He's
You're like,
drawing circles. You see here, you don't go to the left. You
yeah.
want to
It's
come
like,
down here.
and it's like, it's like that thing where it's like, the girl's right here. We're all right here. The guy's like this small little part of the screen. He's like, do you see this stuff? Like, You know, it's yeah,
He's like,
it's
yo, the camera angle's wrong,
yeah,
the lighting's not right. Cut.
yeah,
Somebody cut. Like, come on, stop the action. This
yeah,
whole direction is going wrong. Absolutely wrong.
yeah. You talk about the girl, and he's like, "What girl are we talking about?"
I'm still aware he's wondering why the dick is not veiny enough.
Yeah, it's like, bro, man, man, like it's
Terrible. I give
yeah,
this movie two thumbs down because this dick ain't veiny enough.
yeah. It's like it's so bad where it was like, all right, we're gonna leave. We got to go somewhere else, man. It was just like the room got
Yeah.
really weird. Poor guy, man. I don't ever know what happened. Like, there's some people I wish I would knew what happened to them. Like, cause as soon as they got out of the military, some shit like you see you and like you know you're so used to you being clean shaven and this like that. And next thing, if I haven't seen you in a couple years, boom, beard,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa.
But I tell you,
So,
living in the dorms was probably some of the best times I had. Like once I got so in Germany, I lived in the dorms and I had a great time because you knew everybody. Like all your friends always met at one room. You always partied together and everything else. And that's how you were able to travel with people and things like that. When I got to
mm,
Cali, was the same way. Cali was dorm life. You know, you meet your friends. Once you start making friends, then certain people's rooms became the party rooms.
right.
So if you knew on a weekend that if you were off and you were like, yo, I want to drink and chill, whatever, you went
Hmm.
to somebody's room. When I was in Cali, dude, the dorms got so crazy that I lived on the third floor. My room was on the third floor. So my boy, his room was 312. So what we used to say was if I saw you walking and you were in my dorm room, I'd be like, hey Mike, do you wanna we're gonna go party at Club 312 because that was my boy's room. That's where all the drinking and everything happened. Where the dorm across from us started rivaling with us. Like we would play our music, you know, open up the window, open the door, play the music. They try to bump their music louder.
Hmm.
We would have people over. They would literally try to get our people to come to their party, trying to say that our party was whack. I was like, yo, what is this? East Coast, West Coast fucking rivals over here? Like, what the fuck is going on? But most of the best times, the fun times, you know, the drinking games and everything is was in the fucking in the dorms. I had this I share this story with you. Me and my boy, this was in Cali when I was in the dorms. We went to the NCO club. We are hanging on the NCO club. It was me, my boy, and another dude. He's a Puerto Rican cat, and he was always about bodybuilding. Like he, you know, always working out in the gym. Make sure he ate right. Make sure he watched what he drank. This and that. Like he always was about what's, you know, this is my temple. Whatever goes in here, I want to make sure is the right stuff. So we go to the NCO club and we're hanging out, and I see that he starts talking to this lady. This lady apparently turned out that she was a married lady, her husband, who the fuck knows where he was at. But that didn't matter to my boy because everybody's drinking, we're having a good time. So my boy tells me and my other buddy, he says, yo, I'm gonna go back to the dorms. And we say, we understand. You know what I'm saying? We got you. See you later. Go do what you gotta do. So me and my other buddy, we closed down the NTO club and we're walking back to the barracks, to the dorm room. So on the and windows didn't have the normal blinds. We had this fucking metal fucking covering that in order for you to open to let sun in, like you had to pull the rope and it was like blind, but it was like metal. Like if that shit was closed, you couldn't see nothing in it. Like it was just graded out like fencing and everything. Like it was, I don't know what the fuck it was. So we noticed that he had his blind slightly open where you could see the light coming out from it. So me and my boy were like, yo, homeboy's awake. Let's go see what's going on. So as we walk up to the door, before knocking, we hear noises. So when we look through the shade, we see this motherfucker standing in the Superman pose with his hands on his hips, like fucking like I'm Superman, I'm fucking God Almighty, and Homegirl is going downtown on him through the shades. And we're like, look at this motherfucker, like thinking he's fucking Superman. And homegirl's just fucking licking him off here and there. So he heard us. Like he heard the shades and he's like all Superman pose. And all of a sudden he's like, what the fuck was that? Dude, me and my boy, we booked it, man. We ran up to the second floor, hid below the balcony, and we hear his door open. He looks and he's like looking around to see who was there, closes the door. But I was like, what the fuck? So the next day when we saw him, we're like, hey, Superman, everything's good. He was like, what do you mean? We're like, dude, we saw you. We saw you use Superman pose, had both of your hands on your hips while Homegirl was doing what she was doing. Like, who the fuck does that? Who does a Superman pose to let the girl do an oral fix on him? Who the fuck does that?
I think that's when you start getting, you just start to feel like you're in God mode. You're like, yep, this is how it's supposed to be right now. This is
Dude,
life.
he was butt ass naked. Butt naked. He's just there with his hands on his hips and his head tilted looking at the sky like if he was floating on air with his cape on while she was doing her thing. And I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's it. I don't know, man. People are weird. There's even like, I mean, there's so many things that we like in the military. You see, like, there's so many weird people where they have no problem showing you what they're doing either. So they'll even like just let you watch. And you have some friends that'll be like, I've had a friend who just like, well, he's that kind of guy. Like, if you're like, doing your business with your girl or something like that, he,
Yeah.
he likes to walk in and try to hop in. He's that guy like drunk, and be like, hey, you're like, no, get away, man, stop. Stop. And he's like, no, girl. And the girl's like, get out. And you're like, all right. He's like, okay,
That's
okay.
funny.
But it's like there's always like I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy because there's so many damn characters because we're from all over the world, right? We're from all over the
Hmm.
place, so we have so many different damn characters, but they're legit characters, man. They're fucking crazy. Like they're just
Right.
random fucking people that do different things. Um, but yeah, man, there's it's I've had some friends that just try to walk in and be like, "Can I hop in?" You're like, "No, what the like." Like your friend will tell me like that dude does that. And you're like, all right, man. Like you just know that guy's that guy. Just when he gets drunk, if he knows you're doing like he knows someone's upstairs, he'll start like, hey, get out of here, stop, stop. But
But
yeah,
it
I think people are
makes
funny.
it makes for great stories though. You know what I'm saying?
It
Like
does.
those are the memories you create. Those are the fun times. Those are the funny times. Like if it I mean, a lot of the fucking shit that I share with my friends and everything else is because of the stories I made throughout my fucking career in the military. Just
Yeah.
from being in different locations and shit that I was witness to and everything else, shit that happened. It just like I said, makes for good stories. But I do want to say this. I want to take this time to thank our followers for listening on the RGIJ podcast. I got a text message. I don't know if it was from you, but we made it up to 600 views. Um, was that
What do
from
you mean you
you?
don't know if it was from? What the fuck? Of
No, the
course it
number
was.
didn't show your contact.
Are you
It
fucking
came,
serious? I
yeah.
sent you it was from an email.
Oh, it didn't show. It showed a phone number on there, but it didn't show your name.
Oh my goodness.
It came to
Yeah.
my text. Okay, thank you, Mike. It was from Mike Eho, aka Eho.
Who the
But
fuck's gonna send you something? Hey, by the way, here's a milestone you didn't even know about. Here you go.
but don't cut me off. But I want to say thanks to all the followers. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the feedback. Please continue to do that on Facebook. Post. I know some of our people's made comments on the feedback whenever we share it on our storyline and everything else. But thank you for the support. Please continue the support. Please continue to subscribe. It's crazy how far we have come, and we're hopefully looking at going even further. But I just wanted to take this time to thank all of you guys and everything else for all the love for us. And then hopefully, you guys are enjoying the episodes. If you have any feedback, please send it our way. Even if you have questions, I know we did a segment where we posted the trilogy with our friend Noriega, David Noriega, Nori, and me and Mike have talked about having some more guests on here. So don't be surprised if you get a phone call, text, something saying, "Hey, if you want to come on the show, on the podcast, and be there with us and share your narrative and everything else." Because I know we already talked about certain individuals that we want to have coming on. I know personally, I got hit up on Instagram asking me when is their turn. So we're getting a lot of good feedback from everybody and everything else. So
You got better
it's
friends than I
definitely
do.
it, it's definitely in the horizon for us to be doing that. I know we've also talked about doing more live shows. This was the first one, or hopefully many. We were actually trying to make this sort of a live episode with our friend David Noriega that we had the episodes with to do like a closure, but more than anything, just to be ourselves, have drinks with each other and everything else. Since we can't physically be there, but we're definitely gonna have more live episodes like this, and hopefully you guys, watch, enjoy, comment, and everything else. But yeah, me and Mike, we definitely appreciate everything else, and hopefully we're here to see where this goes from here. You know what I'm saying? And for those like I told Mike before, I love when my friends are doing big things, and I'm definitely gonna be more assertive to give more shout outs to people. I know in the last episode we gave a shout out to the Ozone podcast, Pretty Schlitty Productions, and everything else. But as we get into it more, if you want to use this platform to for us to give you a shout out and everything else, let us know. We'll be more than happy to do that. But it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time that we did this, I was just a guest. You know what I'm saying? You interview me on how the transition is for veterans to the civilian life and everything else. And now here we are co-hosting season 2. Hopefully by towards August or so, we'll start season 3. And we'll see how this goes. And I mean, hopefully it goes on all the way till we fucking are in the fucking tomb, in the grave or whatnot. But this is awesome, man. And
Yeah.
it's just overwhelming the amount of love that we get. Like one of my good friends, she is actually sharing it. So when I post it, she'll take it, share it on her Facebook and everything like that, which I appreciate. And it's awesome. My niece does the same thing and everything else. So it's awesome to get the kind of love from the people out there to see that it's not a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that we're just doing because we're haha about it. But it's just something for people to enjoy and appreciate the genuine friendship that we have, the conversations that we have. Even though it could be a little vulgar sometimes, but it is what it is. It's just us being ourselves and everything else. So
Yeah,
I'm
my
just
family
I'm just
still has
happy,
not
man.
even. My family still doesn't even know I'm doing this. Like they still haven't yet to recognize
Yeah,
us at all.
give me their contact. I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call them
Dude,
and visit them and be like, "Yo, show some love to your son, to your nephew, to your cousin, to everything. This guy deserves it."
it's just like that's why I always laugh when you're like, yeah, look this. I'm like, dude, who the fuck are you talking to? Who am I not talking to? That's what I need to know because I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, it's one of the ones where like my family, I don't know what it is honestly. It's comical at this point. I'm like, there's no fucking way. There is no way you don't know. There has to, even if you check Facebook once a month, there's a guarantee that day I've already posted something that day, at
Right.
least that week for sure, 100% that week, 100%.
Right.
Shit, there's sometimes I'm posting a couple times for different projects I'm working at, right? So it's like, and it's never brought up. It's never like, hey, how's that going, or any of that shit. It's hilarious to me that they're just like, oh, and then they're still like, are you still doing that real estate thing by chance? That's still like kind of a thing. You're like, the fuck are you talking about? It's my life. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I'm on there all the time about real estate. Like, that's what I do for a living. They're just like, you still doing it, or
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, yeah, man.
That's funny.
It is,
Hey,
it's hilarious.
let's plug your stuff. Let's plug what other podcasts you got going on, what other things you're doing. Let's plug that in there so these people can
Well,
hear it and subscribe to it and include it in some of their podcast listing as well.
Well, some of those things like so we got one called Aesthetic Business. That's what my friend Q want him have him on. He's also a veteran. And we talk about really fitness and actually, by the way, I've lost over 10 pounds. So
I
actually, I've lost
saw that.
11 pounds.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I
Yeah.
saw that. Awesome.
So I'm now down 11 pounds, which is kind of funny is because I've been trying to get down to 195 since like 2018. It's been on my goals list, and that's like
Yeah.
I never even come close to it.
I don't even know
Um,
what it is, but
I know, man. I'm telling you, man. It's that stuff, but it's like I've been dieting, and so a lot of stuff that we're talking about is mainly
right.
like being fitness and then being entrepreneurs and kind of everything starts with fitness. Also, one of the reasons why I'm not drinking because I that's when I tend to go crazy. Is like if I get drunk enough,
Boo.
Oh,
Boo.
especially that I'm here in Texas, it's point zero eight. I'd be like, "Ah, fuck that, let's go, man. I'll go to big. I have no problem driving.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's just how it is sometimes when I came back to, because I was in Vegas for a year and then I went to back to Japan. I was used to being drunk driving like I was in Vegas.
Oof.
And not proud of that, by the way, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
of course, in Vegas, it's a little bit more tolerable if you're drunk and you're just driving all the time.
Mm.
In Okinawa, in Japan, it's point zero three.
Oh,
So
damn.
if you have a sip, you can pop, and you lose your license for a
I'll
year.
fail every time.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
But
I was crazy. Go ahead.
here's my thing. How the fuck you in Lubbock, Texas, and you don't drink? Honestly. Like if I lived in Lubbock, Texas, I'd be drinking Monday through Sunday because there ain't
Well,
shit to do there. Well, you got one Walmart, one Walgreens or something. If you want a
no,
city life, you gotta go drive all the way to fucking San Antonio or some shit.
I mean, if you want a city, I don't really know honestly what there is to do around here. I mean, the only reason why I moved back here honestly was because when I was looking at moving back to the States, because I was in Japan, and
Yeah.
we were like, we're getting older and we're looking at like a
All right.
house, man. To get a house, man, that was like maybe two bedrooms, maybe three, maybe one
Right.
bath. Fucking, you don't even have a garage. You had no parking, no backyard. Half a
Hold
million
on one second.
dollars.
Hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
What'd you do?
Don't worry about it.
It's like you just did something really quick. Like you just like. Anyways,
I'm like
um,
motherfucking MacGyver up in this bitch. Go ahead.
I can just see you with like a cooler, a little mini fridge. You just brought shit ready. Like I'm not leaving. I got like a little place.
My ice cubes are in here. Got my drink in my. If I have to pee, I got a fucking bedpan right here. I'll pee in
I can
there.
see
No
you doing
biggie.
that.
I'm good to
Oh,
go.
especially
Well,
with
go
you
ahead.
and
I'm
your
sorry.
brother
Go ahead.
around, man. Y'all old, man. Y'all definitely got the stuff around the house.
No, but go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, man. So it was just expensive to live there in Japan. So we were just like,
Yeah.
you know what? We'll move back to the States. And so I was looking for a job. I wanted to move back to Texas because I want to be back. And so I was looking at San Antonio, and then I just found a job with a VA here. And I was like, man, here you can spend, if you make 50,000, you can have your money goes a lot further because it's a smaller town, smaller property tax. And so like getting a house for like, I bought mine for 220, over 2,000 square feet. Like it's just out here, your money goes a lot further. And so
Right.
it's one of the ones where I was like, fuck it. Like, and I was like, man, I like to have my daughter get to know her grandma. That's it. So that's why I always joke my family still doesn't like it because I've never been around these fools. Like I
That's
left
crazy.
2 days after military, and then
Right.
I I was gone for 16 years, and I think I came back like maybe four times. And there was a couple times like I came back that day, and the next day I left. So there was like two times I did that. Like I didn't, I wasn't. So I joke about it because I know like I don't care. Like I don't do
Yeah.
any of this stuff for them at all. And plus, like at the end of the day, like when we're talking about this podcast, like I, I'm always blown away. Like who the fuck wants to listen to anything I have to say? Who would even think it's remotely either entertaining or
It's good
advice? Like
stuff. It is.
no,
Yeah.
that's a disclaimer. That way, if anyone was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, man, I did this and it blew up my face," like I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know shit. I'm not like a financialist. I do not trust me at all with your money. I would
Right.
not trust me. Like
Bernie
you don't know
Madoff
me.
over here.
Yeah, fuck no. Because there's I follow some like some people for financials, and they're getting sued or they're getting in trouble because people like they'll be like, hey, here's some advice, and people are running with that shit, and then they lose money and they get pissed and they try to sue. Like that's why I say like I will just tell you what I think. If you think
Yeah.
it's a good idea, cool. It's just a different perspective, but I'm not doing shit. I'm not no financial person. I'm just a fucking idiot who reads a book and it was like, I'll just copy what that person did. So, but at the same time, yeah. So like going back to, we have podcasts we got going on. The wife, man. So I'm waiting for it. So it's coming down. So she submitted it, and so she'll have her first like notebook on Amazon. So I'm pretty pumped about that one, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm ready for that
Now
one to come
explain
out.
that. Explain the notebook. What you mean by she'll have the notebook?
So the composition notebooks, right? So the old school and competition notebooks you can get from like anywhere like Walmart or something like that, right?
Right. With the spiral.
Yeah, well, not the spiral. It's the bound book part work. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just like regular those. She's gonna sell those on Amazon. So
Like some
and
of
then
these. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like the old school notebooks, and those are it. Like, and it's just a side hustle, man. You can put that stuff On Amazon, no big deal. So it just depends on you, of, you know, kind of like, it's a hustle pretty much. So it's
Yeah.
just a hustle and bustle. Yeah. So yeah, just, exactly what you're showing, like those, right? A couple bucks, put them on Amazon, people buy them, no big deal. You make a design. So she made a design, but we're having we're having, and this is what I don't know. I'd like to get your opinion. So I wanted to come out with a clothing line, but I'm gonna make different things. So we're thinking of having, we're gonna have an online store for clothing, but it's gonna be mainly like a boutique side, like it's just shit we make, but it's a boutique in a sense because it's just like there's guy stuff, but it's not a whole line. It's not like a brand or anything like that.
Right. No, but
So
that's cool though. I mean, because I think you did mention that to where it's like graphic tees, you know what I'm saying? Just different designs and everything else. I mean, shit, I still wear some graphic tees. I know people who still wear graphic tees. There are a lot of companies out there that are making money just from tees with fucking characters from movies. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll put different designs with like for example, I saw one that said Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, WTF, right? What the fuck? And they have that on their shirt. That's being sold out there. You know what I'm saying? So what's to stop you from just doing your own ideas and products and everything else with designs? But we'll leave that to the fucking audience to see. If you guys are listening to this live podcast episode here, or if you listen to it afterwards, do you think Mike has something there with doing his own clothing, branding, and everything else? If so, go ahead and comment on our YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, go ahead and comment and let Mike know if that's smart or not. I think it's smart. I think it's something that you should definitely do. Like you said, is a side hustle. You know, I've always told you like, damn, dude, you're always fucking on the hustle, man. You're always hustling, but that's good. You know what I'm saying? Because that keeps you going. That keeps your mind going. Your gears are always turning and everything else. So you're always staying productive. And for me, I try to make sure that I go each day knowing that I did something productive, even if that's just going to the gym for that day, if I went to physical therapy for that day, if I got my assignments done for that day, if I finished reading my book for that day. You know, I always try to make sure that I'm always doing something productive. What did Izzy do productive today? And I feel like that your mindset is the same. Like you can't just sit there and just watch TV and not do anything. Like I feel
yeah,
like you need to be on the go all the time, which is good. And it's good that your wife's on board with that. You know what I'm saying? Because she sees like, yo, good idea. Let's make it reality and let's go from there. And whatever comes from it, comes from it. I mean, look at fucking Shark Tank. These people going on there with ideas of what might be something, presenting it to these fucking millionaire billionaires and hoping for the best. Why can't just regular, Joes like us fucking do the same thing? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So if that's something that you feel like is gonna be something that's gonna bring another revenue stream or something like that, then fucking be it. If it's no, it's no. Who cares?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you're not paying thousands of dollars to do it. You know, you're using the right resources to where you're not paying as much money to get the shit fucking exposed out there.
38
Why not?
bucks.
$38.
That's
I
all it
mean, I
costs a
got
month, man.
I got friends right now that have written books. And what they do, they go to Amazon and they fucking exploit their product there because it's cheap money to get your shit
Yeah,
sold from there. You know what I'm saying? To get it promoted through there versus going through a publisher, going through publishing, doing this, trying to
yeah,
do a book tour, this and this and that. Like, dude, just throw it out there and see what happens,
yeah,
Do podcasts, use that platform to try to get your shit exposed. Go create your own website or whatever to get that shit exposed. Go to Facebook, do your own Facebook page to get that shit exposed. There's different with the technology now. There's so much variations of resources out there versus the old way of like I need to bring you this and tell me
right,
if I could do it or not. It doesn't
yeah.
work that way no more. So if that's gonna do for you, then do it, man. I definitely will get a shirt. I'll be your first customer to buy your shirt. That'd be awesome.
Well, that's the crazy part, man. Like, it's one of the ones where when you tell somebody what you're doing, and this again, I keep saying this all the time. This is why I have zero qualms about letting anyone know what I got coming up. Now, there's one thing I got coming up that I'm not letting, like, I think like four people know. That one
We're
nobody
gonna
knows
we're
about
gonna
that one.
no, we're gonna express it in the next episode. We're gonna talk about
Fuck
that.
no, no, that one's
Yes.
still under wraps.
No, we're
And
gonna
like again,
talk about that
no.
one.
I'll make sure it doesn't get published. I do all the editing, so I don't have to worry about that.
You do. That's true. You do.
But
Unless I
no,
just
like,
type a text in Facebook and put a post like, "Yo, Mike is doing this."
it's all right. I'll report you as spam. I'll get you taken down.
Yeah, I'll be in Facebook jail for 30
Yeah.
days.
Now, but one of the reasons why I don't mind talking about what I have coming up is because a man, you'd be surprised when people want to support you, and two, you have no idea when you're doing something. Someone's like, dude, I actually need that help, or I could use that, or I'm glad I know someone who does it. So I've actually talked to a couple of people about what I'm doing. They're like, you know what? We have an organization. We're looking for something like that where we don't have to buy. Because the biggest thing for everyone, for clothing and stuff like that, like I've interviewed, you know, an influencer who has a fitness line, and it's amazing fitness line. She's awesome, Katie. She was talking about it, and she was saying like, okay, cool. She has her own like active wear, her own line of clothing, and her suggestion was, hey man, get one product and make it the best that it ever is because you have this inventory, and so just get one thing. But what I'm doing is a little bit different where I don't have any inventory. And so a lot of people are like, you know what, like I could use this for my organization, and we can have all the stuff made for us and we just order it when we need to instead of buying it in bulk, which everyone normally has to.
Yep.
Okay, I want beanies. All right, we got to get at least a minimum of 13 orders. Okay, who wants this? And then you're trying to get money. And so I've talked to a couple people, and people are like, hey man, like I could use it. Are you gonna be up by this time frame? I need it by this date. And I'm like, and I told my wife, like, hey, so we talked to her. We got two different people, two different organizations that would like that, try that out. And so we're just like, hey, man, we're just going to move up the timeline. We'll just try it. Like, cool. What better way? We're about to order some shorts ourselves. I was like, but what better way to do it when people need that?
Right.
And the crazier part is like, you'll be surprised when you tell people something because they could easily copy what I'm doing. It's not unique. I'm not doing
Right.
anything that's genius or any of this shit. I found out about it because we found out from videos.
Right.
But you just find out there's not everyone wants to do what you want to do. And people they don't mind doing that stuff. Like, all right, cool, man. Like, I get to have something unique. I get to have something myself, and I get to control. Like, that's kind of the ultimate thing for a lot of people. So we're moving up the timeline. We'll start it next month. So hopefully next month in March it drops, man.
That's
We
awesome,
already got
man.
a logo. I'm pretty excited about this stuff, man.
That's
And
awesome.
this is a wish, man. Since I'm 16, so next thing on the list, man, is owning a gym. That's been on my list for like forever. So if
Okay.
I can own like a franchise, I mean, and I don't ever put like dates to some of these things. It's just like, when we went back to the original one, I told you like, hey, I chase whimsies. I'm like 100%
Hmm.
serious about that shit. Like small things, big things, every little thing in between, we'll try it. Like, fuck it. Who knows? If something comes out of it, great. If not, cool, man. Like I learned a skill, I learned something about myself, but I'm always getting better. And I think that's what's like more important about everything is like, hey, do that, and also be fucking nice because you never know when someone else you could help someone else out and they could help someone else out, and that's all it is. Because you know when we go back to what we're doing about this podcast, man, overjoyed. We're getting episodes and they're watching. People are consuming them a lot more now.
Right.
We're getting more subscribers. We're doing those things, and it just came from me giving you a phone call, and you're like, I'm down. I didn't even have to worry about it. I just called an old friend, and as always, lucky to have the friends I have, where it's like, hey, I need this, got you, man. Boom, and then we started doing this, and next thing you know, we're doing this on a regular basis. We're doing this when it's picking up, and things are growing for both of us now. I think both of us has actually grown from doing this, where we're looking at different things now,
Absolutely.
and that's fuck, man. It's like why, like it's like there's some evil in this world we're talking about earlier. There's some evil in
Hmm.
this world that's going on right now. There's some people. There's some dark times and shit like that. But it doesn't always have to be like that, man. You'd be surprised if you just. I believe in like karma. I believe in the universe. I believe in good energy, man. If you just be nice to fucking people, man, people are gonna be nice to you. And if you, anytime you tell me when you're going to school, hey, that's awesome. And then
Right.
next thing you know, hey, I'm doing this. Hey, that's awesome. Those are that. I mean, that's the type of energy you want to keep around you. Is anytime you're telling this stuff and people are sitting there saying, hey, man, that's awesome. I'm glad you're doing this. What about this? And and you mentioned doctors, and it's like, yeah, well, fucking why not, man? Like, and the best thing about it is I have no desire to do any of those things. But hearing you do is like, dude, I'm so happy for you that you're going for something else, man. And the
Right.
best part about it is like I've told you before, you could get your master, you can get your doctors, and be like, I don't even want to do this no more. Happy for you too, man. I just want you to wake up being happy and do what you want in this world.
Right. And that reciprocates. You know what I'm saying? And I want the listeners, the viewers and everybody to know that that's how it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's people helping people, people motivating people, people uplifting people. That's how it should always be all the time. So I want to say this first. So Katie, the person that he mentioned, the influencer, If you want to know who she is, the entrepreneur and everything else, you could find it on his other podcast, which is Aesthetics Business, that he does it with one of his good friends as well. So you'll be able to hear her narrative there. So check that out. The other thing is Chasing Whimsies was one of our other episodes, our prior episodes up to now, which was a description that was sent out by Kevin Smith, who's a well-known actor. He did Jay and Silent Bob. He's really big on comic books and everything else. And the message he was trying to get across was that don't wait till it's too late to do what you want to do. And if you watch that episode, you'll see where he talks about how his dad passed away and everything else, but there was no regret because his dad lived the life he wanted to live. So chasing whimsies is what the expression that Mike is saying is for us to go out there and do what we ever want to do. You know, if you want to, you know, a lot of times as a young kid, your parents always ask you what you want to be when you grow up. People be like, I'm the president of the United States. Then, hey, be the motherfucking president of the United States. Don't let nothing be your barrier. Don't let nothing stop you. If, you know, for me, if I want to get my doctorate, then, hey, what's preventing you from chasing that whimsy to go ahead and get your master's? You know, like Mike said, we need more of this to be able to tell one another, do it, go for it, encouragement. You know, what I mean, be supportive. You know, I know a lot of people that are trying to be nurses right now, which I'm pro for it. You know, a lot of people are like can't wait to retire. I'm pro for it. You know, a lot of people joining the military. I'm pro for it. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever your dream and aspirations are, by all means, go for it. You know, if you are meant to be the next MLS pro soccer player, then by all means go for it. If you're the next podcast king like Joe Rogan, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like do whatever your dreams are, follow them through and everything else. Don't let nothing stop you. And you know, like Mike mentioned, we done past it wasn't with a mindset of man, we need to reach this, we want to turn it into this, we want to get money for this or anything like the whole intent behind it was just for us to get together, do a podcast, share our stories, share our life experiences, you know, share our ideas, you know, what motivates us, our dreams and everything else for other people to listen and say, hey, if they could do it, why can't we do it? You know what I'm saying? Like I told Mike, I have friends now. I got one friend doing his own podcast. Got another friends that are doing actress scene. I got another friend that's an entrepreneur. You know, I got friends that are doing left and right that are writing books. You know what I'm saying? Like continue to do that. We need that, especially as he stated, there are dark days ahead of us. These are evil times right now. What's going on between Russia and Ukraine and everything else? That we need some uplifting. We need some positivity. We need to reflect that amongst each other and to live, love, and laugh, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the evils, hopefully sooner or later they're gonna go away. They'll be gone, and then we'll be back to normalcy. But we did it through the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? We all came across to where we called each other, make sure everybody was okay. We looked out for each other, watch each other, and everything else. Let's continue to do that because we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? We need a lot of positivity in this world right now. I think that's the alcohol talking right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and wrap up on that part. It's already over 2 hours, so we're good. Maybe next time, would you, I'm just asking this question, will be the last question we do. Would you be open to get really fucked up really fast? Would you want to be, would you be interested in doing that really
Oh
quick?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so would you be interested in, and it's kind of funny what we talked about. This has nothing to do about everything we talked about, it's just something. If we dipped a tampon into that whiskey you have and then shove it up your ass, we wouldn't have to know. I would keep that to my grave.
Wait, what the fuck? Wait the
And
fuck?
then you got on.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Would you be down for that?
What?
You you've never heard about this? Okay. So like I've heard about it from Marines. They'll do is like,
Sorry, I'm gonna share where you're going with this. Go ahead. Go.
well, you just your anal glands can just receive more liquid faster. So if you just put a tampon induced with alcohol, you'll get you can get alcohol poisoning really fast from just one tip. I'm just saying, I think that'd be hilarious if we were to do that and you were to come on here
I don't.
sloshed.
Why would that be hilarious? That's dumb as fuck.
I don't know, man.
What?
I'm just throwing out
Dude,
suggestions.
I'm in my 30s, right? I'm in my 30s.
Oh, now you're in your
And
30s.
that's what you said. When I said I'm in my early 40s, you said, nah, we'll say you're in your 30s. Okay, I'm in
I
my
said
30s.
late 30s.
Okay, late 30s. You
You're
want a
catfishing
late 30 to do what you just said?
Yeah, I think that would be cool, man.
That would. This is not Jackass Forever. This is not. Hey, my name is Izzy. I'm gonna stick a fucking tampon with a
no.
bunch of
That's what
alcohol
I'm
in it
saying.
in
No
my
one
fucking
has to
rectum.
know.
No one has to know.
No one has to know. You'll take it to the grave with
You'll
you.
be the mofo that be like, oh, Izzy just did the fucking tampon in
No,
his asshole with the alcohol in it.
no. I just like to sit there and say, like, was it worth it? That's all I'll ask you. Was it worth it?
But
And you
why
just.
would it? Why would I even think to do that?
Do you know how
We're
much
not ending
money?
it that way.
Do you know how much money you would save? Do
We're
you know how
not
much money
ending
you would
it
save?
that way. It doesn't matter. We're not ending
Think
it
about
that
how
way.
much alcohol you use today.
I mean,
Imagine if you did this much, and I mean you're on the floor, knocked out, drunk. How
but
much
why
liquor
then
would you?
the episode would be no good?
It'd
Because
be
it'll
hilarious.
be just you laughing and then that'll be the end of it.
At least somebody in this world would be happy. That'd be me, and
That's
you'd be
fucked
happy because
up.
you'd be drunk.
That's fucked up. I'll
And
be
whoever,
knocked out because it's alcohol poisoning.
that's why you just do a little bit. I'm not asking you to like. I'm not asking
Just
you to die.
how us fucking dickhead guys say just the tip, just the
Yeah,
tip.
just a tip. No one has to know. Get a Q-tip. That'd be better.
Yo, I'm
Q-tip
gonna,
smaller.
I'm
Q-tip
gonna
probably won't.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
end
think.
it with this story right here. Okay,
All right, go ahead.
Travis again, right? They do how in the dorms they would do room inspections. Okay, they went into this kid's room. He was only 20 years old. They smelled alcohol, right? But they couldn't find the alcohol. It was like, where the fuck's the alcohol? But they noticed that the kid was stumbling. So they're like, yo, how the fuck is this dude drunk, but there's no alcohol in here? You know what I'm saying? Because you don't normally after you drink, somebody will leave an empty bottle, whatever the case. But they discovered that the turkey, the what is it, where you put the gravy over the turkey and everything else, they discovered that tube was what he would dip into the alcohol, suck it, and then take that tube and put it in his ass and let it go for him to get drunk. So that way they wouldn't be able to find the liquor bottles or the cups or anything like that. So he would use that.
We're fucking smart.
For him, it was, but he got busted because he was stumbling everywhere. So they're like, dude, how you stumbling? You're underage. So
Can you imagine everyone who was like, it was like, dude, we were just eating Thanksgiving dinner at your house yesterday. What the fuck did you use? Like, is that the same shit? Fucking nasty ass. And you know his ass probably was doing the same thing. They were like, I'll put it in the kitchen. That way nobody even knows either more. I'm gonna be smart. And then I'll just
Happy
use it.
Thanksgiving, bitches.
Yeah, it's like, damn it. That's why we don't do shit in dorms. That's why. That's why you don't fucking eat in a dorm. That's probably where we got the turkey baster at. We'll just go into the dorm kitchen and just do it. So,
But
Well,
I ended
shit,
with
man.
this.
go ahead.
Our first live motherfucking episode. Awesome, man. We need to do more of this. We got to stick to it. This
Yeah.
was awesome.
All right, brother.
All right, bro. Later.